That is what I'm talking about. Welcome, everybody. Welcome to Pen and Pixels. It is episode 192. It is not Pen and Pixels 170. We'll need to correct that. It's actually Pen and Pixels 192, I believe. And it is D&D with GOG Storm King's Thunder. And I am very, very happy to have a full crew ready for some D&D mad action. We ended on a literal cliffhanger last time, and I can't wait to set how the team does or does not get out of it. But before we get to that, I do want to remind everybody about ways to support the stream. 193. Thank you. Pen and Pixels 193. So we'll have to make an adjustment there. But I want to thank everyone for being here and remind everybody about ways to support us. If you have not done so already, please make sure to check out the channel by following it. That's always a good thing you can do here on GOG.com. Please consider subbing to us here at GOG.com because this does support all of the streamers, and of course it supports us as we strive to bring you DRM-free and D&D DRM-free content. And last but certainly not least, of course, make sure to check out our individual channels as well, because we have our Patreon subsystems and things like that. We've got all of that stuff. Thank you to Kanjia. Appreciate it very much. Thank you, sir. But yes, we've got that going on, and we have a lot of individual channels and cool stuff that we're doing as well. So please consider jumping on board for us. And with that all said, I am now going to unmute myself because I know that the crew is excited and ready to go, as am I. Now I'm going to unmute them so we can actually hear their lovely voices. And now, since I'm sure you want to see their lovely faces, we will slide over to them. And here they all are. The full crew is prepared. These are the faces of prepared people. All right. These people have spent the last three weeks since we last did our session doing nothing but basically in their rooms when they're not streaming or eating or sleeping. They basically have taken time off of work so for several weeks and have just spent time doing nothing but preparing for this very moment. So what I'm going to do is, as usual, I will of course allow them to introduce themselves, and I'm going to ask give us just 3 specific bullet point items that you actually did to prepare, starting with Pyron Jade. So hi Pyron, just tell us what exactly you did to prepare for the... I'm totally kidding. But you can give us the basics of how you prepared, because you were ready to go.
Yes, of course I am. So 3 things I did to prepare. First of all, I got here.
Right.
Second, I put on my Fuck DRM sticker.
Yep.
And third, I have tea. All
right. See, that, I'm telling you, like, that's... Listen, Critical Role can do what they like, but the amount of preparation involved in what we've just seen shows you. It is a great pleasure to have Pyron Jade with us. Pyron, I hope everything's okay. Any comments you want to make about the loveliness of the team or your people or all that kind of stuff? Or, and if not, please tell us who you're playing.
Maybe I can do both.
Good.
So, yes, of course. Over the last few weeks, I had a little less time to do my usual stuff than I usually have. Well, that's going linguistically well tonight already. And I always had to find out again what a wonderful, great, awesome team I have. And I'm really, really thankful for that. Also, we are still celebrating the 5th channel anniversary with lots of guest streamers. So we had one before the stream. We're going to have another one after the stream. But we're slowly fading out the celebration. We're going to still have guest streamers tomorrow, so don't miss them. And I think also the day afterwards, check the schedule. There's a command for that in chat, and it's really... So yeah, 5 years of GOG.com Twitch, and I'm really, really happy. I still have the screenshot for when I became a moderator on the channel during the first stream, which was Bear Heavy with Heartful Boyfriend.
Wow.
And I also have another stuff. I should tweet it all out so you just see, because it's been a hell of a ride, and I'm so happy to be along for this. And yeah. And tonight, I'm going to play Girita Goldenfire, Dwarven Cleric of Foltos, May Light Shine on Your Way. And let's see what's going to happen, because the team just Arvin as the DM just reminded us carefully that we're fleeing from giant spiders onto a cliff. What could ever go wrong?
Right, just in case you forgot. I just wanted to be clear about the stakes that we were facing. But it's always a pleasure to have Pyron Jade with us, and always a pleasure to have a man who should need no introduction, and to whom I was asking for some metal music suggestions before the stream. I was consulting his knowledge bank. But that, of course, is our good friend Darksaber2K, who also, as usual, managed the dashboard because he's awesome like that. Good to see you, Saber. How is life in the universe with you, sir, and who are you playing?
Everything's good, and I haven't done 3 things to prepare for the stream, but I have done one to the extreme, which is losing all the things in Red Dead Online over the weekend. update where you can play a collector and just run around the countryside with a metal detector, falling off cliffs and digging up coins.
I first heard you say that as I lost all of my stuff. I'm like, oh God. And then you seemed really happy. I'm like, I don't think you'd be that happy. I'm going to guess that's enough. So, well, congratulations on that. That's good. That's
and
good.
I will be playing Celsig Mauer, halfling rogue, and currently teetering on the edge of a cliff with half his team running for their lives up behind him.
So same as usual, basically.
Yeah, there seems to be a recurring literal cliffhanger pretty much every time now.
It is true. There was one in my Adventures to Middle Earth campaign. There were at least 3 occasions where one of the characters played by Terry Toons, who I think Pyron, you had a chance to play with her just a little bit on my ARFCon, on my charity convention, but
yes.
She was stuck on cliffs at least 3 separate times. It just worked out that way, and twice of them she was being attacked by spiders. So there seems to be something about spiders and cliffs that happen with my games, and I don't know why, and I'm sure there's some psychological reason I won't get into, but it's always a pleasure to have Darksaber 2K with us, as it is also a pleasure to have as we were commenting, the very dapper looking, young looking, Screaming Joypad, man. Like, everyone's just like, wow, everyone wants to be him. Tech gurus, I did that wrong. Everyone wants to be him. Forget what I was going to say. You get the idea. How are you doing, Mike? How's life in the universe and everything? And who are you playing today, sir?
I am very well, thank you. Yeah, you're right. Tech gurus just want to be me. CTOs just want to touch me. All that sort of good stuff. I am actually looking this young and vibrant. Actually, I have no idea why, because it's been an incredibly stressful few weeks. But as I said when I came on chat, with absolutely no pause, it's because I've been bathing in the blood of my enemies. So that's probably something to do with it.
Yes.
3 things, I'm waving my glasses wipe at you with authority now. 3 things I've done to prepare for the stream is I've actually done quite a lot. So firstly, I've become deathly afraid of spiders. I don't know where that came from.
Sure.
Secondly, I've been drinking ale non-stop for the last 3 weeks. Doctor's probably not going to like that one. And thirdly, I've become cursed. Fantastic. Those are the 3 things I've done to prepare for this stream. Yes, so tonight I'm playing Urash, the half-orc barbarian and devout follower of Tempest, who is aforementioned cursed, and also deathly afraid of spiders, who is currently fleeing out of a very tiny tunnel. I think I'm in the back as well, which is really bad. So there's the whole team in front of me, and I'm just
You're in
terrified.
the middle. Pyron, Greta is behind you. Yeah, you're in the middle.
That's fine then. So we're only going to lose most of the party. It's absolutely fine. As I just barrel into them and they just fly out.
Yep, it's the classic. We talked about this, right? It's the end of the sequence in Moria in the Fellowship of the Ring film, where everyone bumps into each other and they almost all fall off the stone.
Yeah, it's fine. I'll grab River. River will grab Celsig, and hopefully Greta will grab me, and the spider will grab Greta. It's fine.
Everyone's happy, and then Greta's like, "Oh, thank you." Oh God! Like anything that's left to grab anybody.
It's that Superman thing. It's like, oh, you've got me, but who's got you? It's like, uh-oh.
There's that sequence in Mulan where they're surfing, where what's his name, Mushu is on the shield and he's like surfing down the snow trying to find Mulan, and he keeps reaching and he pulls the head of the one bad guy. He's like, no, it's not you, and puts it back. It's really funny. Thank you for the subscription, Kendrick Swish. Welcome to the DRM Free community. Thank you, Kendrick.
Kendrick Swish is one of our wonderful guest streamers who just streamed Age of Wonder Planetfall.
That's right. I was streaming, so I didn't see it. But thank you, Kendrick. Thank you for
You definitely missed something. Strategy games are always a bit fickle, and I'm always really, really happy when I see a streamer who can make them exciting and everything. So that was a wonderful stream.
Awesome. That's awesome. Well, thank you then for streaming before us, Kendrick. We appreciate it. And thank you for the subscription. And also hi to Memories in 8-Bit and Kilgore Trout and everyone else that I haven't said hi to. And one person I have not said hi to, thank you, Mike, always a pleasure to have you here, is, of course, the amazing Tasty Chai, who is back with us again. Chai, how are you? How are you feeling? How's life in the universe and everything?
I'm good. Life's good. I'm not muted. That's good. For a second there, I thought I was muted.
All true.
Okay, let me think. 3 things that I've done to prepare. I have my headphones on.
Okay.
I have my lamp,
Okay.
who is currently shedding all over my lap, which is good. And I have my notepad, which does not have the notes on it, which is also good. So I'm like 3/4 of the way prepared.
Outstanding. I feel like you're completely ready for this. When you do actually begin the game, who will you be playing in this prepared state?
I will be playing River, a silver dragonborn, who is, I believe, currently holding on to Celsig Mauer, dangling off of a cliff.
That is right.
While I thought that her other hand was holding on to a very upset barbarian.
Yes, I think that is also correct. So
Very true. You were definitely Urash's carer in the last stream. Let's put it that way.
it'll be fine. Can you help me,
I do
please?
like
I'm
it,
a little
please.
busy with
Hold my
that.
hand.
But yes, it is going to be awesome. I cannot wait to get started. So let us get underway and make it happen, people. We'll start with a quick summary of what's been going on, and I think I'll fire up the music that seems appropriate for this moment. It's very calm and peaceful, and
Called Party Wipe.
yeah, seems totally, I think, functional, calm. There we go. I think
I don't
fine.
have my Roll20 music on. Oh god, this is going to be horrendous, isn't
Dun,
it?
dun, 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 dun.
I mean, to be fair, I've been so lucky these past few sessions. I suspect Celsig is technically immortal.
Well,
Keep going with that.
that's
See how
an
that gets.
interesting theory, and we're going to get a chance to test that, I think, because what we have been engaged in over the last few sessions is trying to deal with the latter portions of what's going on in Storm King's Thunder. The party has been able to track down information about what has led to the increased activity, in fact, even the madness of the giants who have become an incredible threat to the Sword Coast and to the innocent people who live within it. And so what the party has ultimately discovered is that the reason is that the leader of the giants, King Hecaton, who was the head of the ordning that was essentially responsible for organizing the giants, has disappeared. And there is now a power struggle of sorts that is taking place between his three children. One daughter, who is currently in control, is being at least not openly warred against, but at least severely argued with and resisted by two of her younger sisters, and so that's creating, or I should say, two of her sisters, not younger. And so as a consequence, that's led to these problems because Hecaton has vanished. And so what the party has decided that it ultimately has to try to do is to find out where Hecaton has gone to, because apparently, as the party discovered recently, Hecaton did not just vanish, he has been taken somewhere. He has been left, and to kidnap not just any giant, but this particular giant suggests that something very powerful is sort of at the root of it. And so when consulting the Oracle of the Allfather, which is the ancestral place where the giants would get information and wisdom about giant matters, the party was able to discover, after bringing back a relic to prove to the Oracle that they were worthy of such knowledge, that there were several, that indeed Hecaton had been taken to this place, and the only way to get to that place is to teleport there through the use of a magical conch, like a large seashell, basically. And the only way to get this conch is to go to where these conches are actually held, specifically by the leaders of their respective races of giant. The party was told about one in particular, and this was the leader of the fire giants, a guy named Duke Zalto. And deep within his volcanic fortress, with forges, lava, creatures of death and doom, overwhelming heat, dirt, underground, thousands of feet, and so on. To get to this place, the party simply needs to leave here and then hopefully be able to be transported or teleported there, perhaps through the use of Zephyros's air tower or some other method. But something funny happened on the way to the forum, because as the party was leaving, an enormous blue dragon broke through the doors, charged into the place, and basically began tearing things apart as their former companion, well, who knows how former he's going to be, but at least former for now, Harshnag, went after this dragon and basically held the dragon, fighting him while the party made its escape. But of course, rocks, the temple, rattling down, the temple itself was rattling its destruction, and so fortunately Celsig knew of a solution, an alternate route of escape, which are these tunnels, not built apparently by the giants, but these random rough tunnels that presumably would be perfectly safe and no problem. When they traveled through the tunnels, what they ended up discovering, rather to their shock and dismay, was that they were in fact had been dug apparently by spiders. And after defeating a few of these ice spiders and seeing a couple of enormous spiders that were following after them, the party, led in fear by Urash, but led in fact by Celsig, wandered through the walls while both River and particularly Greta threw obstacles in their path, trying to drop down fire spheres and, foot bear traps and any other kinds of things, doom traps, acid walls. I'm kidding about that last part. Basically, Greta just told me at the end, every conceivable thing I can do to stop them, I'm dropping behind me. So I'm like, okay. So there's a lot of things that Greta dropped behind her. As the party got to the edge of these tunnels, though, Selsig, running, because that's what you do when you're running from spiders, ran out and nearly fell to his death off of this huge cliff face, but was stopped by River, who managed to grab him by the scruff of the neck. She held on to Urash, and so we now have Selsig dangling from the cliff, River holding on to him, Urash holding on to River, and Greta right behind Urash while is coming from behind them in the tunnels. And so with this pleasant setup, I now hand things back over to the party. You are not currently in initiative, but there is clearly something on its way towards you. What do you want to do? Right now, Selsig is sort of in place. You're not going to drop him yet, River, but there is the risk if you move him around a lot that could happen. So with all that in mind, what do you folks want to do?
Can I pick
I
up
look
both
down.
of my
How big is the drop?
So therefore panic. How big is the drop? Well, let's see. By a quick, looks like it's about 700 feet to the bottom. So
Many feet.
Yeah.
Thousands of feet,
Yep.
you could
Yep.
say.
Well,
700
700 feet is just to the spot of my map. So I would say that it's, that's just this side of the
700 is a
mountain.
lot, right?
It's just like the map just extends a little bit.
Yeah, exactly.
It's,
700 feet is like a lot of meters. Yeah, it's not like if we drop him,
That's
it's not good.
Yeah.
It's
That's
actually
it.
700 kilometers.
700, yeah. It's 700 miles. And
Oh, wow. So
Yeah,
from
so
here
you-
to
7
so we
million
could
feet. Got it.
so we could drop Selsig from here to Italy. That's
yeah. And Italy would give him the boot. So to speak.
okay.
Geography humor, I love it.
okay. Let's not drop him. Okay.
No, I'd like to try and grab a piton from my belt because I still have one left that I managed
Okay.
to recover.
And I think Urash said that he was. Did you just? I hear you say that you wanted to try to grab them both, or
Yep.
Okay, so you're not going to really be able to.
That's what I do. So
Okay, right. So you can drag River back if you want. Like River is not dangling; she's like right at the edge holding him. The only thing is that you can't really get to Selsig because he's not. Your arms aren't long enough to get around her and also grab him, given the width of the tunnel. So you can grab her and pull back if you wish. You could certainly do that.
So my assumption was if I picked River up, Selsig would come as well.
If she doesn't drop him.
But
There's
that's
a lot of
nothing
ifs.
to do with me.
That's not my doing.
I'm going
make
to
a
put
good
that
No,
down to the
no
curb.
disrespect. I've got my job.
Listen, don't talk about irrelevant details, all right? Yeah,
It
so
doesn't matter. Anyway, no, that's fine. I'll pull. I'll try and grab River and pull her back.
okay. As you're about to do that, I'll assume that simultaneous to this, Selsig is going to grab a piton from his belt. Now, Selsig, you are currently held by the scruff of your neck. So what I'm going to say is, if you can picture this for a minute, if you flail about to try to get back to your pack, you're going to put a big strain on River's grip, basically. River, who, by the way, though a dragonborn, is decidedly not a warrior. Sorcerer, yes. Warrior, no. So you could, that could cause problems. So if you want to go slowly, you won't incur that problem. So the question is, do you want to go slowly back to your pack, basically? Or how do you
I
want to
think
do it is my question.
Slowly is probably best. Yeah.
Like this.
Okay.
like strings of scarves, a ladder, 4 bags of gold.
So,
Like a Looney Tunes thing. Anvil.
Yeah.
hammer.
right, exactly. Pots and pans,
Ignore what just popped up in chat. I misclicked.
But
Okay. What?
So the so you're reaching for so you start to reach that. So you reach for that, right, slowly as Urash reaches for River and then grabs him. Now, River, are you going to try to do anything to, because you're holding on to Urash right now, so this is just one hand you're holding on to Selsig with. How do you, like, is there anything you want to do to try to secure the grip, or it's up to you? Like, what kinds of things do you want to try to do?
Use your tail.
Yeah, I was gonna say, grab my tail.
You have to flip around to do that.
Oh yeah, I guess I would, right? Because I'd have to.
Right.
That would not be good. Hold tighter. I don't really have anything to like hook onto him either. Yeah, I don't have anything. Okay, yeah. I just hold on as tight as I can. Really.
Okay.
Who are you holding on to as tight as you can? Is it
Celsic.
Celsic? Okay.
You just hear me going, too tight, too tight.
Too tight.
Claws. River's
still a
tiny
chance to
mermaid
save
needle
Han.
just sticking into your shoulder now. You just start ripping your shoulder off.
You're like, that's really gonna hurt. Exactly. There's still a chance to save Han. Okay.
No, I'm a sorcerer. My tight is like I couldn't kill a banana. You know.
Like, do real violence to a soft piece of bread.
Yes.
Okay, so you are going to grab onto him. I'm going to ask you, as Urash pulls back, to make a, let's make it a strength check, please, to see if you can hold on to him. Not a saving throw. This will be a check.
Yeah.
Fine, you got this.
While Celsic is like Mission Impossible, reaching back for the, you know. Okay, so we're looking. Is that just a straight 15?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So you were able to hold on to him as he gets pulled back and onto the edge. Greta, you hear now coming from the hall, like it looks like it's. I mean, it sounds like it's just around the corner, and it seems, by the way, to be coming from up here to the north.
Wait. Oh. There. Wait, why is it coming from there?
That's a good question.
Because we didn't torch that bit.
Nope. No, we didn't.
That's the bit we left alone.
Yes. We didn't.
But so far, I don't see anything. I just hear stuff,
It's-
right?
Yeah, but it's getting louder rapidly.
Give me Okay, I'm going to ready a guiding bolt, and as soon as I see a spider, I'm gonna lose it. The bolt.
Okay. I was like, all right. I was like, oh, thanks for letting us know. It's like, you know. Okay. So as soon as you see it, you will let the guiding bolt go. Sounds good.
Yes.
All right. So you are pulled up. When you get back to the edge, I will need you to make, not a difficult one, Celsig, an acrobatics check just to get back onto the ledge. Because she basically has you, like, on your back now, like, your head's over the top. So, you just need to make a one.
14.
Yeah, that's enough. So you're able to pull yourself back, like, onto the ledge. And you're now sitting there. So the good news is, you have no longer falling down the cliff. The bad news is, as Greta sees a spider emerge around the corner, or to be more accurate, the leg of a spider. So this leg pokes down like, let me see if I can freehand it, like this. So you see this, it's not green, just ignore that part. But you see this leg basically pointing down, and it looks as big as any of the spiders that you face, just the leg. And you just see it poking like it's almost reaching for you.
Oh, so maybe it doesn't fit. I don't care. Let's shoot it.
Okay.
I'm losing the guiding bolt against the leg.
Okay.
Time to go.
There we go.
Okay. That'll
20. So
20 will definitely hit. Go ahead and roll damage.
I just managed to close everything, which is just the best idea I ever had. This is 4d6 of damage, type radiant, and then the spider will glow. And
Okay.
everybody who attacks the spider will get advantage,
Okay.
which is something I hope we get to do. 4d6.
Agreed, memories. The good news is you're falling not off the cliff.
well,
The bad news is the
why
cliff is
not?
falling
This
on
is-
you. 17. All right. So your bolt hits the leg of this spider, and you hear this, and it pulls back, and this ichor sort of bubbles, this black ichor bubbles and sizzles on the floor where you shot it, and sort of scrapes back. And now, Greta, you hear again, but this time
Okay.
it's coming from the south instead of
Okay,
the north.
just for good measure, I would like to scream, "Go away!"
Okay. Immediately there is silence. No, I'm just kidding.
Wonderful.
Roll persuasion.
Roll intimidate. Oh man. Okay, so you do scream that. The leg disappears, but you hear now another hissing, clicking sound coming from the south. And this sounds like multiple hisses and clicks. It's like things are there's a bunch of them coming up from the south if you're to understand what's happening. So big, huge leg thing to the north, nothing to the south, and then you've got issues to the west, obviously, the cliff.
Okay.
And this is for anybody, not just Greta. It's up to you.
I think it's definitely time to leave. Is there a ledge we can go across?
There is a small ledge, yes, that you can sidle along. Basically, you can see it here. That you can sidle along.
Sidle like we've never sidled before, people.
Okay.
What?
I'll sidle first. I'm smallest and least likely to fall off. I really should have thought that through before I said it.
There's a ledge.
Yes, right here.
How convenient.
Well, that's the edge of the ledge. Everything else is down like 100 feet, 100 feet, 100 feet as you go down. Like each of these layers goes down another 100 feet or so. So this ledge is about 100 feet, and it's about where you are was only about, I don't know, maybe 7 or 8 feet wide. It's a little wider here, but then it gets very narrow, as you can see over here. So.
Okay. Chat, somebody did this before. Check how much is 7 or 8 feet. Just post it.
Oh, sorry.
We need to convert you to the metric system. This is not working out.
I've been told for the last 30 years we'd be converted to the metric system any day now.
Pirate, it's 2 and a bit Celsius.
Oh,
I'm 3 feet.
That's true, actually.
I am now a unit of measurement.
How many Celsius is it?
That's like a nice big ledge we can walk on then.
For the moment, but
Why
not
is
when you
this
get
a problem? Let's walk away.
Here. Okay.
Well, it's also covered in ice, right?
It is definitely snowy. It's not icy here, but it's
Okay.
there is definitely some snow, light snow on it. But again, here is where it gets narrow. But deal with one problem at a time. This on this side is at like another drop of 100 feet or so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's put it this way. There's definitely spiders that way. There's probably spiders that way. I'm going with the probably, not the definitely.
All right.
Okay, so Celsig, if you're leading the way, you're going to head south along the ledge. Now, how close are all of you staying to each other? Like, are you, within touching distance?
Grabbing
Like
distance.
little group? Or?
I would feel comfortable with them in grabbing distance.
Okay.
Catching distance. That's
Catching
how far
distance.
I am. Catching distance.
Okay.
I have a rope in my backpack. Maybe we could just like hold on to the same rope.
So that way, when one of us falls, we all fall.
No, that's fine.
You're not a team player.
As the smallest and lightest party member, this works one of 2 ways for me. Either I get saved, or I get pulled over the cliff with everybody else.
Yeah.
Well, then
You hear.
let's walk. Let's walk.
Just go. Let's just go. Go. Tunnely. Go.
Okay. So
We don't have to go home, people, but we can't stay here. Let's
stay
just go.
here. So Celsius, go ahead and move a little bit along the ledge here then. And
I'm
going to shuffle forwards a bit.
there you go. And then there's that. And then let's see. And do I have, is this? Oh, yes. Right. So
straws for the rear guard.
I remember what that is. So yes. So you move in this way, and you all are out this way. And I forgot to mention before, because I didn't see him, that Doran was also in this group of people that were holding people back.
You wrapped that up quite nicely during the stream.
Yeah, no, that's right. I had assumed that. But no, I do actually have something because we actually, Flayos and I talked briefly a little bit about how this might work. So you all sort of make your way along the ledge. And as Doran gets to the edge, basically, gets to the sort of end of the tunnel, Greta, you are sort of the last one before him. He kind of looks at you, and then he waves, and he says, "I'll see you on the other side." And then he turns back and walks back into the tunnel. And you hear this horrible hissing and like, and this sound of like squishing and cries, and you hear and smell a little bit of flaming spider flesh
I don't like any of that.
as you're moving that way.
Oh.
And so, as you folks continue to move along the ledge, the problem happens when you get here, Celsig. The wind has picked up, and so it's blowing very strongly against the ledge. And here you can see that the ledge at this point sort of narrows into, basically there's just a gap, and then sort of falls away. So essentially the ledge stops. Let me give you a little thing here. ledge stops about here.
Like there's no more ledge?
Yep. In other words, it crumbles away. So what's left below it is just basically a bunch of rocks. And then again, you have these, it's terraced, right? So it's like you can see little cliffs below you, but each of them is like way below you, 100 feet, 100 feet, 100 feet, which is however many Celsics that is, multiples.
Lots of Celsics.
Yeah.
Problem.
That's 33 and a third Celsius.
I'm behind Urash, so I cannot see anything. So what's the problem?
I think
We've
we're out
run out
of
of
ledge.
ledge.
Yeah, I think we're out of ledge.
I'm gonna move
That's
you guys down here a little
unfortunate.
bit.
Can we climb down?
Don't know. Why I can't see anything. It's Celsig. Celsig can probably shout. So I shout Celsig. Is there any way past?
Does the ledge continue after any sort of gap?
It looks like there are more ledges over here, but it's a good, I don't know, maybe 40 or 50 feet from where you are, from the edge right here that I just put down, to where
It's only
this
50
picks up.
Celsius.
That's out.
Yeah. So, now, I mean, you could try to climb across the gap to, get to it, but...
Can we throw Celsic across with a rope?
Why is this everybody's first choice in these situations?
It's because you're small and very throwable.
It's an activity of the time, Celsig. It's halfling throwing. Okay, you've done this before. Okay, it was more acceptable in Faerun than anywhere else.
That was also on flat land at a horse.
That was from a horse on a horse. That was to another horse. That was horse-to-horse combat with using a halfling as a projectile. I'm very proud of that. I think we should get that in our montage.
Maybe we could. Maybe our friend with the tower could hear us. Maybe somebody who can pronounce his name could call for
I
him.
have the Zephyros's horn. I can blow that. See what happens.
Yeah, maybe we can. I mean,
Actually, do you know what? I'm just going to blow that. See what happens.
Okay. When you blow the horn, there is this... At first, you think that there's something, like, blocking up the sound because you don't hear anything. And then there's this... Oh, I got to plug in my echo machine. Just give me a second here.
Get closer to the landing zone!
At least that means it works.
So then you hear a... it gets louder, and then... And it finally, it's like this, almost like across the entire valley, and there is a rumbling, and the entire wall of the cliff rumbles. And Celsig, you feel something hit the top of your head, and you look up and see that snow is beginning to come down, and then it's more than snow, and there are sort of like Greta, you feel a few rocks brush your arm, little rocks, and then you hear this as it sounds like something is coming towards you from above.
Avalanche!
Sorry, guys.
I'm going to give you guys a chance to each do one thing. You have one individual thing that you can do, and that's all you're going to get before what is about to happen will happen.
I'm going to rage
into the ground and hold on for dear life.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear that. Say that again. Saber, say that again. I'm sorry, I didn't hear that.
Jam my pizza into the ground, holding on for dear life.
Okay.
I am going to rage and grab hold of Greta and River.
Okay. Greta and River, what are you going to do?
I'm gonna. I see Urash as my best chance of survival. I'm gonna put a guidance into him.
Ah, okay, good. Which means you can.
Ace.
Okay, good.
I don't know what that means.
And it means that you'll get a bonus die, basically, to this check.
For your next ability check, whatever it will be, you get a D4.
That's going to be. Thank you. Excellent.
Well, Mark Mello. It's my favorite game, so you've come to the right place. This is a wonderful group of players. And River, what are you going to do?
Okay. Wait, just so I'm understanding, I'm already like bunched up against Greta
Yes.
and okay. So then I'm going to look up and cast Gust of Wind just above us. I don't know if it's gonna matter, but there it is.
Okay. I'm going to double check on the strength of Gust of Wind.
It's not very strong, but it might do something.
Yeah, it's a good idea. Let's see. Guardian of
Oh, I can roll that before or after. Thanks, Greta.
Ooh.
Line of
Yep,
strong wind, 60 feet.
I just put it in chat so you know what it's doing.
Yeah, thank you. That's really useful. Like really, really useful.
Yeah, the death ward is already used up, so that's what I have.
All right,
No, that's
so
good.
you grab onto in the way that has previously been described. So you, Orosh grabs onto Greta and River. Selsig rams the piton into the ledge basically and holds on. And then River, you cast Greta casts the guidance on Orosh, and River casts this gust of wind above her. And so you get a chance to see this moment where, for a moment, your vision becomes just pure white. All of you, as all you see is just snow everywhere. The sound is overwhelming. The rumbling just kind of lands, you can't hear anything else. It just the sound of the snow, the power of the snow as the mountain vents its fury upon you. And all of you are pulled away to a certain degree, but how much you're pulled away is going to be the question. I'm going to start with Selsig. Selsig, you are going to need to make for me a strength check. Because of the piton, you'll get a chance to do this, though, at advantage. Sorry, not a check. This is a strength saving throw. I beg your pardon. So this is a strength saving throw, but you'll get advantage on it because of the piton. And let me remind everyone, speaking of advantage, that those of you who support me over on my channel at the tier 2 level on my Patreon or a tier 2 sub, $10 on Patreon or tier 2 sub have inspirations. You can use those here to inspire the players if you wish. So keep in mind, and if you haven't done that and you're like, how do I help? You can go over and do that, and then you'll be able to inspire them if you wish. So just letting you know that's an option. Okay, so go ahead and make that saving throw for me, please, Selsig.
Wish me luck. Yep. Yep.
Oh, no!
So you are ripped free from the piton. Now I'll talk about the impact of that in a minute. You, those of you sort of hear this kind of wail, and then there is, well, not silence, but just the rumbling of the snow. I'll come back to you, Selsig. That leads us to moving Ryan up the line, Orosh. Now, Orosh, you're going to be holding on to 2 people, plus you're dealing with the avalanche. There's a lot going on there. However, you're going to have a strength saving throw, which normally would have been done at disadvantage, but because of the gust of wind, there's enough snow being kept off of you that it will just be neutral. So basically, it's just a regular strength saving throw, plus, of course, Greta's guidance. So
guidance goes for an ability check. This is not an ability check.
It doesn't go for saving throw?
Nope.
No, ability check.
Oh, crap. No, it's a saving throw. It's not an ability check. I'm sorry.
Nope.
No, that's fine.
Sorry about that. I mean, you'll still
Next
be able
time I
to use
need
it
an
later
ability
on.
check, though, that's getting used.
Oh, yeah. I mean, like, there will be ability checks in the future. Maybe.
Yeah.
depending on what happens in the next 5 minutes, I guess.
Right, so what am I rolling? Talk to me.
You are rolling a strength saving throw.
Hey, strength. Yep, one of those. Come on, don't screw it up. Don't screw it up.
I am going to say that...
Nice.
Yeah.
Really not feeling nice.
A 12 is... So what happens is basically you sort of pull... you kind of are holding onto them, you sort of struggle back and forth, and then you topple backwards, sort of kept by the snow, and you also plunge backwards. And there is a moment where all of you just have this image of watching above you as you see the edge of the cliff face and what looks like a river of snow coming all at you, and then everything goes dark. And that's our show. No, I'm kidding. I'm just joking. All right. Selsig, I'm going to start with you. When you first open your eyes, you are aware of 2 sensations. First, you are very comfortably warm, actually. It's nice and comfortable, and you feel like you're sort of lying back, and it feels like you're lying in some comfortable place. And you sort of think to yourself, I'm at home, I'm in a tavern, this all seems good. And then you realize that part of the reason you feel comfortably warm as you open your eyes is you see just a curtain of white. You're basically just enclosed by white. And the warmth may be the whole, I no longer have feeling, and so that's what this is type of thing. It seems like.
Severe internal bleeding.
Yeah, pretty much. So you're lying in that area of white, and then you hear a strange sound, which is a sound like. It's this repeated sound of what sounds like a scraping.
Can I even move?
You can move your arms a little. You are also, I'm not even going to tell you much about health. You're exceedingly hurt. I'll get to that. But you can move your arms a little bit. And you can, looks like you can open your mouth maybe. Although you have to be careful not to have snow pour into it, but you could do that.
Try wiggling.
Okay. And there's a moment's pause, and then again.
I try and wiggle in a rhythm, so like 1, 2, pause. 1, 2, 3, pause.
Okay.
2, pause.
It stops again, and then you hear this muffled, right, just hold on a minute. It sounds like this muffled sound or some voice above you. And so then it's going a little faster now. And after a minute, you notice that the white above you seems to be getting lighter and lighter and lighter. And then there is a moment where a pile of one sort of snow full shovel is clear, and your eyes are kind of like you have to blink because of the brightness of the sun kind of, beam down on you, reflecting off the snow. And you see this face that is covered over by what looks like scarves and, kind of like lots of cloth as if they're protected against the weather, and these goggles that are basically staring down at you. And you hear the face sort of looks down at you, and then you hear, right, you alive?
I wiggle, but I'm thinking at the moment it's probably best to play mostly dead. When it's mostly not an act, I think.
Okay. So he says, well, you're moving. You got a tongue? All right. That's enough then. And he sort of disappears and then comes back, and he sort of threads down. He's only like a foot or two above you. Like he's pretty close. And he threads down this rope. And then he says, hey, grab onto that.
Yeah, I'm just going to follow his instructions.
Okay. So you're able to grab onto it. I mean, your hands and your arms are almost frozen solid. I'm going to give you a check to see if you can hold on to it. Go ahead and let's make it a strength check, please. This one.
I feel very attacked tonight.
No, not a save. Not a save.
Sorry. Yeah.
Check.
Pretty much the same. 15.
Aha. So, you are able to hold on to the rope, and it's painful. Your fingers but you're on it, and he's like, all right. Okay. Pull, Bella. And there's this sort of pause, and then something pulls back, and you feel yourself gradually being dragged up and then over and then onto the top of this huge pile of snow. And when you're out on top of the snow, there's a moment of silence, and then again you hear, right, I don't suppose you can stand then.
Can I? I'll try.
Not very likely. You are very hurt. I should have mentioned, by the way, that on the way down you took about 38 points of damage, which is what happens when you fall that far. And what actually might have saved you is the fact that you fell into snow as opposed to falling onto a rock. So positives. Anyway, but you're not in a position. Your legs feel, one of them might be broken. You don't know. So yeah. So he kind of waits for your answer. And you haven't looked up at him yet, have you? I should say, or not, because you just dragged you up.
I'm sort of playing dead and on top of being mostly dead because I don't know who this person is.
Okay.
Celsig is playing it safe at the moment until he can assess how much more danger he's in.
Okay. And he says, "Well, you're either hurt or you're an idiot. I suppose I'll go with the hurt part." And he says, "All right, Bella, come over then." And there's this and this huge something large is like stomping next to you. And Selsig, you are lying. I would say that, do you want to lie on your back or your front? You can do either you wish.
Back.
Okay. So when it comes over, there's a moment where you see above you, and you can actually see way above you the cliff's face. So you can actually see the cliff face of where you fell from. It's a long way up there. And as you're looking up, you're there. And then this huge scaled face looks over at you. It looks like the face of this massive lizard. And it just looks over you and like just sort of snorts like and like sniffs you. And then he's like, no, Bella, don't eat him. And Bella and then it's like pulls his head up. And so he reaches down, and this guy comes over, this creature comes over, and he looks to be a little larger than you, Selsig, and rather stocky. Maybe the size of what a dwarf might be around Greta's size, maybe. And he picks you up rather easily, actually, and brings you over and puts you on Bella's back. And as you go over, you can see that Bella actually has a very large, what looks like, at first it looks like a saddle, but then you see that it's actually like a ledge on which whoever this person is has placed like bags and like tools and supplies and things like that on the back of this very, very large lizard. And I should say, by the way, the lizard has blue and white scales and all along its body, and these rows and rows of teeth. And as he puts you up on the thing, the ice lizard turns its head, and it turns it almost all the way around so it can look at you, and then turns back facing away from you. And the person, whoever it is, comes up and sort of looks down at you and says, "All right, you gonna die while we move?"
Prefer not to.
"All right, stay alive then, or don't. It's up to you."
The others.
What others?
My friends. We fell.
There's more of you?
I hope so.
And he says, he kind of curses to himself a little quietly, and then, "I don't suppose you know where they fell."
From the same place I did.
And he kind of looks up and then looks back. "Fine. All right. Bella, we got 3 more of these." And Bella's response to most things seems to be, and Bella turns around, and as it turns around, it almost feels like you're on a moving platform, Selsig, because it just like turns in place almost. Doesn't sink into the snow at all. And then the person jumps up and is actually standing on one end of the platform and holds this large, what looks like these 2 things that are maybe the ends of like reins, for want of a better term, and then says, "Hup!" And Bella starts going over, moving actually fairly rapidly, but the way that it feels on the platform is almost like you're shifting left and right because of the way that its body maneuvers as it kind of, goes along the snow. Now I want to jump to the rest of you, and I'm going to have Greta, Urash, and River. Let's see. Well, I don't want to screw over this guidance, but you know what? It doesn't matter, though. I think it's reasonable here. So I'd like you all to make a Constitution check for me. Not a saving throw, but a check. So that means, Urash, you'll get the guidance on this.
Okay. I'm going to choose to use the guidance either before or after the roll. So I'm going to make the roll first.
Okay.
I will choose to use the guidance.
Okay.
It's 1d4, isn't it? Roll that d4. Oh boy.
Well,
5.
5. River's got a 7.
All them high numbers.
How about you, Greta?
Don't make me do anything important tonight, folks.
You're getting them all out of the way.
13.
Oh, yeah.
13. Okay. Greta, you are the first actually to wake. And when you wake, you feel First of all, like you were in a lot of pain, and indeed you are. You are sitting right now having taken, by my count, about 49 points of damage as you fell from that height.
That's not good.
Nope. You are, everything feels broken. You feel bruised. Everything hurts. And you can feel two things. One is that there is, again, this blanket of white above you, and that's all that you can see is white. But also you feel something hard and like pokey, basically right below you.
Like below my bottom?
In your back, basically.
So
although I should have thought of it that way. Maybe you just cannonballed into the snow. No, I assume that you fell on your back.
Okay, because you said I'm sitting. That's why I was asking.
I'm sorry. I beg your pardon. No, not sitting. I should say lying.
So I'm lying, and I have a pokey thing in my back, and everything hurts, and it is white.
Yes. Just another Tuesday, basically.
Yeah. So I just stare into the whiteness for a moment and whisper, "Faltus," before it becomes clear that I don't think the afterlife would hurt this much.
Yeah.
Can I move, or am I encased in snow?
You can move a little bit, and depending on whether you want to do a check, you can try to move more. Without having to do a check, you can move your arms a little bit, and you can move your face back and forth, but you can't move the rest of your body.
Okay, I would like to try to get my fingers point up.
Okay.
Because I'm getting really, really angry right now.
Okay, I would say that you could probably do that without having to do a check.
Okay, I'm getting things are going wrong recently, really not going well. And this might be a really stupid idea, but I will put a scorching ray just up.
Okay.
Anger cast, I like it.
Okay. Let me take a look and see.
Some dark Phoenix stuff right here. You just screaming power out of the snow.
Here is the thing.
It has a range of 120 feet. How much snow can there be?
So the scorching ray is not the problem. The problem, or at least the range, the problem is that the reason that everything is white is because your face and in fact whole body is covered with lots of snow. And so at the moment, if you open your mouth to do the incantation, you're going to be eating snow.
Uh-huh.
In other words, and I don't mean eating you can just keep eating it. I mean, you will suffocate from snow.
Well, I fear I have to risk this, right?
It's up to you.
Also, I'm really angry, so yes, let's do this. I might just, do like this and...
Okay. So...
Really kind of hope this works.
Yeah, exactly. Let me have
This is Grace heel turn. This is where she actually becomes chaotic evil.
I might just cook myself right now. We're gonna find out.
Yes. I'm gonna have you roll the. No, you're not actually gonna cook yourself. I'm gonna have you roll. I'm gonna have you roll the roll damage for this. You hit obviously because you're just aiming at the snow. So just go ahead and roll damage.
Okay. There we go.
Okay.
Oh, but it's 3 times. Yeah, because it's 3 rays actually. Wait a minute. Next is coming, and the last.
Okay.
So all of this.
So 19 damage is a flame. So you do this, flame sort of shoots out. The snow around you melts, and immediately more snow falls on top of you. I need you to make a Constitution saving throw for me, please.
Okay, just marking that I used the scorching ray and the Constitution saving throw. 5.
Yeah, so you're as a lot of this snow, you kind of basically, down the wrong pipe, as it were. Thank you, Spider2K2. Welcome to the GOG community. So you kind of and spit it out a little bit, but you are going to take a little bit of damage because, thank you for the follow, MD Monster, because this is not just, this is freezing cold. And so it's actually doing a little bit of damage almost. It's basically inhaling ice. So you were going to take 3 points of damage from that.
Okay.
But the good, well, we'll see whether it's good news or not in a minute. The one bit of news that this does, one thing that this definitely does is, River, you are sort of deep in darkness, and then you have this vague dream about being near a campfire and the sizzling of delicious bacon. And you can actually like you almost feel the heat of the fire, and it's really like, wow, like it's kind of cool. And you reach out for it, and then the bacon disappears, and instead you are confronted with not white. You are actually confronted with what looks like some kind of metal surface. Maybe it's a little bit hard to understand what it is you're looking at, but whatever it is, you feel it moving a little bit, and above you, you hear.
Oh. Okay. I'm surprised I'm awake. I didn't expect that. Well, because I was giving people a hard time in chat, I spit.
Okay. Oh, did I mention that you took 25 points of damage? I do need to make that
Oh,
clear.
only
I'll say it.
25. So I'm down to 1.
Yeah.
I thought for sure I was going to be like totally out.
Nope.
Cool.
I rolled separately from everybody, and you lucked out. A
Wow,
little
great
bit.
job.
So you spit.
spit.
And you're able to do that. And although I'm very tempted to, you accidentally breathe and dragon breath. No, you just spit. So you spit, and indeed you're able to do that, although your mouth is parched, and everything about you is sore, everything hurts. And again, there's this weird metal something or other above you that there's some sound coming from.
Yeah. Can I see like where the spit goes, so that way I
No,
know like which
you
way's
can barely
down?
see anything.
I can't see anything.
Yeah, barely.
Alright.
You can see just a little bit of this thing that might be metal. There's a little bit of light filtering to the left and right, but almost none. I mean, it's very dim. So
Okay. All right. I attempt to move my limbs in order to like touch the thing in front of me.
Yes, and I would say, actually, I'll have you make a strength check, please, because you are kind of a little more rough situation than Greta was.
I would say ever so slightly more, yes. I don't.
Yeah, no, not really. You try, and you're like, ugh, but you're weighed down by something, by a lot of something, apparently.
By a lot of something, yes.
I wonder what that could be.
I start to cry really loudly.
Oh. Okay. So Greta, you hear, what does she hear? River?
Something like that.
Yeah. But imagine that, but then from a distance, as if below blankets. Many layers of blanket.
Here, let me demonstrate.
Perfect.
Is that
Great. Now I'm emotionally traumatized.
Okay.
So yeah, you hear that.
Yeah, but I'm still like eating snow, right? I'm not like freed in any way.
You're well, the snow does melt, once it's inside your throat eventually. So you are somewhat freed, although there is the danger if you open your mouth to speak that more will come down. That is possible.
Okay, if I can now move more freely, I will try to dig myself out.
Okay. Let me have you make a strength check for this then.
I'm really angry.
Yeah,
Wow.
you really are. Okay, so you begin to dig, and you're like, digging, and then your hand, rather painfully, bangs into something which is decidedly not snow. And as you kind of, brush it away and like try to brush snow away, there's enough light where you are to see, because you were digging upwards, yes, I assume?
Yes,
Okay.
that does seem like a good direction.
I assume so, but I just want to make sure. So there is this sort of
Dig down, keep
like
going.
a large gray, it almost looks like a rock.
There's a rock above me?
It seems like a rock. I mean, it's gray.
Does it cry?
No, the crying is
Okay.
coming from below you, not above you.
Greta is being really, really confused about everything right now, and she thinks this might be because she's down to 5 health points. And I'm gonna put a cure wounds on myself just in hope that I feel more sure about reality.
Okay. I will warn you. Actually, no. Where you are now, you're not going to get any more snow for the moment because this gray.
I could get a rock on my head.
You could. No. This is pretty large. You could get it on your head, but you're not going to get it. You're not going to get a rock falling in your mouth and choking on it. I'll just say that. You can feel comfortable about that. So go ahead and do your cure wounds.
Yeah, but it's not reacting. But it's 1d8. I'm just going to do it manually.
Okay.
Here it is. It's not level 1. It's level 2. No, it's level 1. The cantrips are the other one. Submit. Then it should be 1d8. There. 5. Okay. There we go.
So you've got 10.
Nice. Yes, I'm up to 10 points. I should feel better now. Lots better.
Yes, definitely better than you did.
Okay.
That is fair to say.
So, do I have really like a little tunnel now that I
wouldn't say a tunnel, but this thing is above you. Maybe you can reach out. Like, you can not quite bend your hand out full. You can reach out so your elbow is bent, but you can like, I'm trying to think how close it would be. Maybe a foot or less. Maybe like 1/10 of a cell-sig or less. I don't know how that works out too. Above you is this large gray thing. And now that you've had a chance to look at it a little bit closer, it also looks like it's sort of smooth. It looks a little unusual for a rock.
I poke it.
Urash, you are in your darkness. You are imagining being at a great battle. You are engaged in a great battle, and your axe is in front of you, and it glows red like fire, or perhaps the blood from the heart. And you swing back and forth, left and right, as enemies fall before you in your rage, and you sort of fight and attack all these things. And then you can see one of your companions, and it looks like it's actually Greta, comes up to you, and she has this smile on her face. But then the axe that you are holding, glowing red, seems to seize control of you, and you imagine or watch the axe take your hands up and then swing down towards Greta. And then you feel this stabbing pain in your back, and you wake up to feel something poking you.
Wow, this cutscene took a dark turn.
Did I cook him?
No.
That's good.
Also, Urash, you took only 40 points of damage, so you're at 27. So you're
now. Is that 40 or is that 20? Because I was raging at point of impact. Why I raged.
I'm gonna say still 40 because you then lost consciousness. You still lost consciousness after that.
Well, that's all right.
It's the impact and then what happened afterwards, but that's almost well played. I almost bought that.
Fine, be that way.
I'm so angry. Okay. I'm falling from this cliff. I feel like this rage has so many applications, Mike.
Do I realize it's a living being that I'm poking?
Not yet. Depends on what Urash is about to do.
Right. What can I see in front of me?
There's a lot of white that you see in front of you. There's a lot of white and
something poking me in the back.
And there is something poking you in the back. Yes. It's not steady either. It's poked and then something like that.
Just for reference, I'm using my hand. I'm not doing it like with a dagger.
I know. I figured you weren't.
Yeah, you're like hacking away at this rock. You're just like very squishy rock. I don't know what's going on. Why won't this
rock move? Oh man.
Okay, can I sit up?
That's going to be an interesting attempt, but let's try to have you make a strength check, please.
Okay.
And actually, I'll take athletics for this if you want.
I'll stick with strength. I rolled a 15. That's the highest I've rolled all night.
Okay, so that's a 20. So you are not exactly able to sit up, but you are able to kind of lift the top half of your body almost to clear a little bit of space. So like you kind of pull up, And as you do that, Greta, you see the rock move. So the rock like moves up a little bit, and then you catch sight, because a little more light comes down, of like a familiar scar on the back of this that you're looking at.
Urash!
What?
Urash! I keep poking. I keep poking. I'm below you. Be careful.
Tempest? You sound a lot like my friend Greta.
It's me. It's Greta. Be careful. We're in the snow. You could like fall on me.
River, you now hear this, by the way, so you can actually hear the sound of Greta.
And the river is crying somewhere.
Can I turn to see Greta, or am I just like?
You can,
no, I'm very kind of.
You can turn your head, but you can't turn your body where you are right now.
Okay.
I'm trying to help dig Urash free.
I will struggle. As in, like.
Okay. As you struggle, snow sort of showers down on Greta and River. River's vision dims a little bit as more snow falls, and snow kind of falls, more and more snow. But you manage to get a little bit of sort of space. And then the question is, you get enough space that you could actually, like, how do I put it? You could like punch, you know what I mean? Urash, yes. Like up, but you don't have room to do a full punch. And there is, I would say, since you're not at the moment raging, you'd probably know that there is a risk that by doing that, you punch up and then like more snow falls on you. That is possible, but you could try to do it.
This is true. I will try and do. It will hit me. Presumably, it will hit me rather than Greta and River behind me.
Presumably, although it may go all the way around you too, depending on how much snow falls.
That's fine. I'm willing to take that risk.
Okay. So when you
I attack the snow, is what I'm trying to say. Yeah.
Okay.
I will punch snow.
You punch upwards. Make an attack roll for me, please. Just a basic melee attack.
Oh God, how do I do a basic melee attack?
You should be able to just do a. It essentially works out to like a strength check plus your so it'd be a strength check plus your bonus this, right? And proficiency. Yeah.
Strength check plus my bonus and proficiency. So proficiency, my proficiency bonus is 3. Strength plus 3, and then plus 1 presumably. So strength plus 4. So 1. Yeah. Okay. So do that. Add a 4 to it. Oh, great.
You're like, oh, this is what happens when you've been buried in the. Oh God, this ice is so. So it denies you.
The snow attacks me back. What's going on? Okay, I can't get out. I will say I can't get out. I can't get out.
Okay. We got this. We gonna get out here. We're gonna get out. I just at this moment I feel like Urash seems very much alive, but I don't hear River anymore. So I'm trying to dig below me to get River out.
Don't do the noise. Don't do the noise.
How are you going to?
I can't go with it. Don't do the noise.
And I'm doing this like really angrily while saying like, this is not the afterlife.
What? So how are you going to dig down? Because you don't have a lot of leverage to do that. You need to turn your body, and it's not going to be easy to do that. You can try, but it's not going to be easy to turn your body around.
Okay,
right now you're on your back, remember. First,
I'll try to get in a bit more of a sitting position, and then I'm gonna like push my back against the snow, so I get like a little bit of more moving space by compressing the snow. If it's not more compressed by that.
I'll buy that.
And then, I'm a bit stocky, so I shouldn't get that. And then I will try to like dig down when I feel, because Urash is above me and he seems to be like a good ceiling as long as he doesn't move. So I'm fine there.
One of my many talents, being a good ceiling.
I will have you make a strength check for me, please, Greta. As we said, a lot of strength checks today.
I make a fine door and a good ceiling.
Yeah, it's a 1.
You're like, oh God, like this is all very narratively appropriate that you're having a hard time getting down into the snow.
Okay.
River, are you doing? Let me put you on pause 1 sec, Greta. River, are you doing anything at the moment besides having cried? Or not?
I just start like babbling about how I miss Greta and Urash and I don't want to die and I'm hoping that everyone's okay and because I can't move. I can't even move my hands. So like there's nothing I can do.
Meanwhile, Celsig somewhere takes 10 heart damage from not having been mentioned.
I miss
I have
the
literally, I had 5 health. You have just killed me of a broken heart.
I'm just kidding.
I miss Celsig too.
So, okay. So you hear Greta behind you. You hear River babbling about how she misses you and she doesn't want anyone to die. Urash, you may just barely hear that a little bit too, as they're sort of moving around and kind of taking this happening. And so, as this is happening, as you're trying to kind of like move around and sort yourself, Urash, are you just basically saying I can't do it and you're staying? Are you gonna like what else are you gonna try if anything?
I was gonna ask, have I got my axe to hand or is it somewhere else?
You do actually have your axe and it is kind of like buried next to you in the snow, but you have your hand around the handle. Apparently you punched with your left arm, your left fist, and your right hand is still around the handle.
So I'm aware, so from like the waist down, I'm kind of trapped and I've got like very little kind of lift room
You got it.
on my upper body. Is that correct?
You got it. Mm-hmm.
So am I able to get my axe? I'm aware this is a big axe. This might not work and kind of use it to kind of dig out in front of me.
Maybe. As you
Like I'm
grab the
scraping
axe.
ice off side to side like this.
Okay. I'm going to have you make a strength check and I have a question. As you're grabbing the axe, what is on your mind? I know it's an odd question. Just go with it. Okay.
Immediately.
Okay.
Don't like being trapped. I want to give thanks to Tempest for just being alive and comrades being alive. I can hit at least 2 of them behind me. Zelsig's a nimble dude. He'd be fine. I don't even think Tempest himself could squash him. Just getting out, basically. Seeing the light of day.
Okay. I'm going to have you make then a strength check for me, please, to see if you can get your axe free.
That's a possibility. 20.
20, yes. So you are actually able to pull the axe up. The axe feels, as it sometimes does, warm, maybe a little uncomfortably warm, Urash, as you remember a little bit of your dream. And but you're able to pull the axe.
Just like the danger to me and my party, I don't time the axe. I am rooted with the fact that I'm aware this is a strong sensation, but I'm rooted with the fact that I have to get these people out of here.
Yep, that's fair. Yeah, you don't feel any urge to attack anyone or anything like that as you have it. And so you begin to kind of cut left, right, left, right, left, right. Hey, Encounter Roleplay. I know that guy. Welcome, everybody, from Encounter Roleplay. That, of course, is my good friend Will Jones, who plays in my Adventures to Middle-earth campaign, and his channel and the amazingness from there. Thank you, Encounter Roleplay Raiders. Welcome, welcome. Welcome into some D&D with GOG Storm King's Thunder. And they are currently digging themselves out of a sticky situation or a snowy situation. But welcome, thank you. So you kind of, move back and forth, and eventually you kind of, there's a spot where you feel like you could punch up with the axe, like directly. You can keep going side to side, but basically like more snow just keeps coming down. If, however, you push up, there is the risk you won't be able to pull it back down, but you could definitely get higher than what you're doing right now. So
okay, cool.
What I mean.
I need as much surface area as possible. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to place the blade of the axe flat against the snow and push that up.
Okay.
To see just if I can pull them away from me.
Okay.
How deep I am. I'm assuming that deep, like miles underground. I don't know, but it could be not that deep. So I'm hoping I can just push it away. But I'm going to try and push it in the same motion that I sat up in. So I'm going to try and push it instead of like pushing it directly upwards. I'm going to try and push it that way.
Make the strength check for me, please.
Yep. On it. Trying to fluff this roll. 16.
So you were able to push up. And now we're going to jump over to Celsig. Celsig, while you were on this platform of Bella, the ice blue lizard, and it's this feeling of you moving back and forth, are you looking? Where are you looking, if anywhere? Like, are you just kind of like staring up? Do you have your eyes closed, being like, "Man, what is going on with my life?" Or like, what are you doing?
Dying mostly.
Yeah, mostly just dying.
Yeah, I mean, I've got my eyes open, but I don't really have anywhere frame of reference to be looking. All is snow and pain at the moment.
Yep, pretty accurate. All right, so you sort of are staring up, and there's this kind of movement back and forth, and then you hear the person at the front say, "Ah, all right, slow there, Bella, slow." And Bella, and Bella sort of slows down, and then he says, then the person says, "Something moving over there in the snow. Looks like something. Well, how many of there are you besides you?"
3, half-orc, dragonborn, dwarf.
All right. Well, don't die on me while I rescue your other friends, if they're even there. And so he, chunk, you hear his boots hit the ground, and he's grumbling to himself, amateurs, and grabs something off of the back of the platform where you are, and then walks over, chunk, 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 chunk. And Urash, you hear chunk, chunk, chunk. And then you hear something from somewhat not too far above you saying, "Hey, are you living?"
Yes, we're living.
"All right. Do you have another friend? Tiny little halfling?"
Yes, Selsig, small halfling.
I don't know what his name is, but that's fine. He must be yours. There aren't that many halflings that fall from cliffs these days. All right, just stay there for a second. Not that you can do anything else. And he turns around, and he goes back, chunk, 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 and you hear him coming back, Selsig, chunk, 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 and then still muttering to himself. You kind of are able to like lean your head over to see that he's tying a rope onto that same thing he was holding, the little weird rain thing. It's almost like a pole that goes up from the back of the platform, and he ties it to that, and then he goes over and grabs something else from the platform and walks over, and you hear tunk, tunk, tunk. And Urash, you hear tunk, tunk, tunk. And then you hear this scraping sound. Sounds like someone digging.
Okay. I will continue to try and push the snow away from me.
Okay. And when you actually are able to do that, like your hands break through, and he looks down and, he looks down. "You're a big one. I was hoping for more halflings. They're a lot easier. Who else is below you?"
We have a dwarf and a dragonborn.
And he sort of, dwarf and a dragonborn. All right. And he kind of says, "Hold this," and he tosses the rope. Now you, because of the various actions you've been doing, do not have to make the check that Selsig did. So you can actually just grab onto it. But if you're going to grab onto it, you're going to have to hold on with just the one hand, or let the axe go and hold on with two. But there may be consequences.
As much as I want to get people out of here, I don't think it's going to be a good experience if we're trying to let the axe go right at this moment in time. As focused as I am on getting my friends and comrades out of here, I don't think it's going to be too kind. Now, one question I did have is, can I see this person now?
Yes, and you see the face.
What do they look like?
So you see what looks like a covered over face of cloth and rags that almost looks like someone is basically protecting their face, and then these goggles that are in the top of the face. You can only see the goggles and the whatever this is. The sort of head and torso look kind of stocky, and it looks like it's not that tall, but you can't really know for sure until you get, up and can see him from a distance, because he's just kind of leaning over basically halfway. And that's what you see. And when he speaks, you can hear, it sounds like a deep voice, probably male, but not 100% sure. And he's, again, you can only see what I've described thus far.
Okay, cool. I will try to grab hold of or to keep hold of the rope with only one hand.
Okay. So you hold on to the axe, he tosses the rope down, and then pulls up. Now, as he pulls up, Greta, you can see the gray rock, which now turns out to be the back of Urash, is moving and seems to be lifting above you.
Yep.
And
Okay, so I have more space to move. I try, which makes it easier to dig for river. So I dig.
so you dig downwards, and after a moment, you see River. Actually, the face of River comes into view. She looks very, very, very sad and upset
Oh
and terrified,
no!
and also very hurt. But she is still apparently alive. And River, you see Greta's face as well.
I exclaim in joy and happiness.
River! I try pull her up a
Causing
bit.
another avalanche.
I was gonna say no. So unfortunately you do not get covered with snow, or more snow, but there is more snow sort of falling upon you slowly that from the sides of this thing as Urash is pulled out. And I should have mentioned that as you're being pulled out, Celsig, you can feel the platform moving, and Bella, as it's like pulling you away, pulling at something. And Urash, you are brought back up onto the surface, and you're now on the surface, and you can be on your front or your back. It's up to you. You could, you're in enough health that you could like stand if you wish to like roll to your.
I'd rather stand and try and like. Can I help in any way?
Right. Well, so if you look back down, you can see that Greta has turned around and is dug down to what looks like a dragonborn that might well be something like River.
Something like? How many are there in this avalanche?
Well, there's the spider.
It's her long lost cousin,
Ocean.
It's Brooke, her long lost cousin. No. Okay. So so you can see Greta sort of facing down and River facing up. And so it depends how you want to try to help. I mean, you can definitely see now that you're pulled up, and you can also see that the person who now looks to be about Greta's height, could well be a dwarf, is coming back and sort of is taking the rope from you. And all right, still a little muffled through the rags. All right, if we want to be a help, go ahead. If not, let's go over there and lie on that platform next to your friend.
I'm all right. What can I do to help? I've been in worse scrapes.
And he says, and he looks up for a minute when he hears you say that. He looks up at the cliff and looks down, and you must be a fun person at parties. All right. And he says, well, here. He says, why don't you take the rope and lean down, see if you can grab your friend down there. So basically, he like ties the rope around your ankles, essentially, and then has you lean down into the pit, essentially, to grab onto Greta.
Cool. I will lower myself down, and I'll announce to Greta, "I'm coming down."
I look up. I see Urash dangling, and I'm trying to like
grab.
And I'm trying to like grab River and like lift her up so that she can maybe grab Urash's arms. Which might be the closest part of Urash dangling down.
Yep, probably. Yeah, I'll be stretched out. So.
I mean, now that Greta has moved, can I move?
Yeah, you have a little bit of movement now, so you could probably, because you're not going to be able to reach around Greta to get to Urash, but you might be able to hold on to Greta, who is like more or less like what you guys did up on the ledge, essentially.
Yeah.
And like pulling, I'm like trying to pull her out.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to have, let's see, I'm going to have both Urash and Greta make strength checks, but these should not be difficult ones because you are being aided by something.
11.
Okay.
And that's 8.
Fortunately
we're
for
like...
you, Greta was more important than yours, Urash. So, because you're being aided by something that is pulling you up. And by the way, you feel as you're being pulled up, like whatever is pulling you up is doing it with no difficulty. Like just, like very just lifting you up smoothly, almost like you're on a winch or something.
Glorious.
And so you grab on, and Greta grabs onto River and pulls you out. And you now find yourselves on the top of some snow, all of you, presumably panting and trying to get your breath back. Greta, do you roll onto your back now, having pulled her out, or because you're?
So she's out.
Yes, all of you are now out and on top of the snow.
If possible, I don't want to roll on my back nor on my stomach. I just want to stand up.
I'll help you stand if you can. If you can.
Make a Constitution check for me. Let's see if you can stand up.
I also hand River
15.
a potion of healing and say,
Okay.
"Here, you might want this."
Okay, so you are able to stand up, and as you stand up, you turn around and you see two rather striking scenes. And then I'm going to come back to River. Actually, before I do that, River, are you going to take this potion that he gave you? And
Yeah, I mean, I heard a lot. So anything
It's
handed.
like I pass you the ball. I'm just like, this will stop some pain. Okay.
okay,
Okay.
so when you drink it, the healing potion is going to do. I think it's 1d.
I'm glad you got this because I don't think I've ever used one of these.
Yeah,
I was
have-
gonna say,
I have to get
unfortunately.
someone. I have to get someone to hold my hand through every single potion use.
Yeah.
You had one used on your.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have to guess.
So
It's just one of those information that don't stick in.
This is 2d4 plus 2. So 2d4 plus 2 is going to be the potion. Is going to be the effect.
So that'd be 6.
So go ahead and roll.
6.
So 6. Okay. So you are
we'll take
now
that
at
off.
7 instead of 1, which is an improvement.
Yay. You're like a whole new River.
I know.
Okay. So Greta, as you turn around, sort of to look around you, and you stand up, you see, first of all, Urash standing up. You see a strange person who is wrapped in. It looks almost like a mummy, like wrapped in furs and parkas and rags and like all these things, including around their face, and then has these goggles, which are currently covered a little bit with snow, sort of looking at you. And then behind him, you see an enormous ice white blue scaled lizard. And on the back of this lizard is this what looks almost like a big platform. And on the platform is lying Selsig, who looks very, very hurt. And there is a rope attached from this pole that comes up from the platform to near the hole, presumably, where you just were pulled from.
I just stare. This is just too much. Suddenly, Selsig got a blue dragon. I'm just no. No. I just stand there, stare. I stare at the person. I stare at the lizard, and I just don't do anything anymore. I just stand.
And there's sort of a moment's pause, and then, well, are you gonna fall over?
Nope.
Good. All right, it looks like all of you are sort of alive. You better come with me. This isn't a safe place to stay.
Is he all right? I point towards Selsig.
I don't know. He says he's not dead yet.
I shout upwards to the platform, Selsig!
Oh no, it's not that high. Let me. I don't. He's not like a 400-foot lizard.
What? You didn't say anything about this.
I did. I said before I did, but it's okay. It's a large lizard which has a platform on it, but it's the size of, like, let us say a large horse. Okay. Well, height-wise, a large horse, and then maybe 2 horses long. Let's put it that way. So it's
tail?
Plus tail, yeah.
Okay.
2 horses long plus tail, and it's about the height of a horse. So he is a little bit above you, but just not 100 feet above you or anything.
Okay, then I'm still like a dwarf, and that is a horse.
Yeah, oh yeah, still higher than you. Yeah.
I'm still shouting up, Selsig!
You hear that, Selsig?
Yeah, I just sort of wheeze. I came to save you. Cough up some blood and pass out.
Well, he's still alive. If you want to be too, you better come with me.
Okay.
And he says, all right, Bella. And the lizard, when he says Bella, moves forward. It has this enormous head with teeth as it bares its mouth, this sort of rows of teeth. And it comes up to you, Greta, and like sniffing you, and then sniffs Urash the same way. And the person says, all right, Bella, you're not supposed to eat them either. And Bella looks over back at him, and then sort of looks back at you.
Super important point. Super important point. I pet Bella.
Okay, so
I look at Urash as if he just lost his mind.
So you pet Bella, And Bella kind of looks back, and it has this very odd effect of being able to actually where you are, I guess, is just to the side, but its neck can like turn very like it's very flexible. So it looks back over at you, and its head is like right in front of your face, and you sort of pat it, and it, and then its eyes, its big blue eyes, sort of slightly close. All right, don't go putting my lizard to sleep now. And he says basically, and he kind of pops Bella on the side, and Bella, and he says, all right, get up. And he kind of points to the platform.
I get up as fast as I can and look after Celsig.
Okay. I'll talk about what you do with Celsig in just a minute. River, you're still lying on your back. Now that you've been healed, you might be able to stand if you want to try.
I sit up first, or try.
That you can do without that. You can do.
Okay. I sit up first, woozy, look around, see the lizard, and go, "Mama."
And the lizard, this enormous, like looks back down at you and kind of tilts its head as if curious.
And then I try to stand.
Make a con check for me, please.
Okay. Oh crap. Well,
No edge-winged, no potion made River high. That's just River's default state.
Yes, this is just how I am. So yeah, 19.
Okay. Yeah, you're able to do it. So you're able to sort of stumble to your feet unsteadily. And you can now look up and you can see that you fell from a very long distance above you. And around you, there are piles and piles and piles of snow everywhere you can see. And the cliff's edge now looks, the cliff face, I should say, looks nice and clean and glittering from ice and so forth in the sun.
All right. I just like look up and then I look at the party and I look up again and I'm like, whoa, we made it.
Glorious. Not only did the mountain attack us, it failed to kill us. Now that is a story to tell your grandchildren.
What are grandchildren?
And
don't worry about it.
And the man says, unless you want to see the mountain attack you a second time, I'd get up on Bella and get moving here.
Oh, hi!
Yeah, I'm not.
Hello.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I'm going to take another punch from a mountain, so I think we should probably leave.
Okay. So he indicates the platform where there is room for all of you to get on if you wish, although it'll be a little tight with you on there, Orash, but there is enough room.
I get on Bella happily and cling to her.
Okay, Greta was already up there, and then we got Orash. Now, Greta, you said you were tending to Celsig. Celsig is very hurt. What do you want to do to tend to him?
I'm going to give a healing word, which at least gives 1d4, better than nothing.
Okay.
I would say. I'm just gonna do this manually, so no problem here. Yeah, 1 point.
Okay.
I think I'm just a little, exhausted at this point in time. It's also the last healing spell
Okay.
that we just used up here.
You feel slightly better, Celsig. Slightly less blood.
I checked my backpack whether I lost all my stuff in the snow or anything.
No, it looks like all of the stuff has come with you. You landed, and then everything else landed on top of you. And apparently, because you were all next to each other, there was enough of a gap that you didn't get stuff crushed below you, although it very well could have been if you had things had gone a different way.
Celsig, however, has lost all of his belongings.
Yeah, exactly. But Celsig lost everything. No, Celsig did not lose everything, although Celsig does look to be more hurt than the rest of you. It's not just about the healing. There is also the fact that at the moment, it feels like one of your legs might be sprained or broken or something, Celsig, but you're pretty hurt.
I also use my healer's kit and will make a medicine check to see if I can do a little bit more for him.
Okay.
Where is medicine? There it is. Goodness me, I'm like really on a roll here.
My leg falls off.
Yeah, you don't. It looks like this is beyond your skill to heal. It's beyond
Or
my
at least-
skill. It needs elvish medicine. It's beyond your skill to heal. At least in this environment.
Yeah.
Even if you had done really well, I mean, this looks like your guess is that this is broken. That when he actually fell, so.
Oh, then.
8-bit. Yeah, if Celsic lost his finger after they completely.
No.
Ow! Oh man. But no, it is not his finger. It's his leg that's bothering
Dig in
him.
music.
His left leg too, specifically. Okay, and you're already on the back of the platform, so the person sort of gets up onto the back of the platform, onto the front of the platform, excuse me, kind of squeezes past all of you, and he says, "And Bella," and he's like, "Never mind, don't complain. It won't be on you for long. And you've had a nice, easy time of it the last couple of weeks." And Bella just, and he says, "All right, forward. You know where we're going. Back home." And Bella turns its head and then begins to shuffle off. And you have this odd experience of, first of all, as I said, it kind of goes left and right in a flat plane almost. So you have this strange feeling of as if you're traveling on the back of a snake or something. And it's also facing downwards as it goes down this hill of snow, but it does so with complete, conviction. Like it seems to know exactly where it's going, and so it has these wide claws that are splayed out on the snow, almost like it's wearing snowshoes, basically. And so it goes forward along the snow at a pretty good pace, actually. And as you're going along, you can kind of hear the mountain receding behind you also. Okay. And by the way, are any of you doing anything while you're on the back of this thing other than just sort of looking about while you're traveling?
I'm saying a quiet prayer to Tempest. Because I just got into a fight with the mountain and I won, relatively speaking.
Mm-hmm.
And also all my friends were alive, which is really nice because that kind of weird vision dream thing really freaked me out.
Yeah.
I'm snuggling Bella thinking of bacon.
Okay. Celsic, what about you?
It's still in tremendous pain.
I'm just thinking how much you hurt.
Yeah, it's really the only thing I can focus on.
Fair enough.
Which, actually, I have another potion of healing, so I kind of shuffle up to Celtic and I ask him how he's doing. Presumably he kind of gurgles. So I'll offer him potion of healing.
I'm just like, I came back.
I came back to save you. And save you did, brother, and save as you did. Now, I'd say sit up, but you look kind of fragile at the moment, so I'll try and hold him up a bit and feed him the potion of healing.
Okay. So go ahead and roll for me, Celsig, 2d4 plus 2.
2d4 plus 2. We get that together.
That's my last one. No one else get injured, okay? I'm not a vending machine.
2d. Okay, 2d4. Oh no, it's 2d20. 2d4 plus 2. There we go.
Wow.
No, do
Most
you
effective
think?
ever, yeah, exactly.
It's
Oh.
super effective.
It is, actually. Look
not
at that.
bad.
The 9, huh? So,
Nice.
all right. So that brings you up to
Roughly
15.
not
So
dying as much.
you don't feel now anymore like you're at death's door, Celsig, although your leg is still very much in pain. So as you're all sort of moving along, Greta, are you doing anything while all of you are traveling along? On the back
I'm
of this lizard?
sliding towards the head of Bella on this platform,
Okay.
and I ask our savior so to who do we own our rescue?
And he says without turning back, "Luck."
Okay, well, nice to meet you, Luck. My name is Greta.
No, my name's not Luck. And he kind of looks back around at you, just through the goggles, and then he says, "My name is Calixus, and you're lucky that I happened to be wandering by with Bella just when that happened. Normally, I don't stay anywhere near this place, but I happen to be going farther afield, and I happen to find you, or at least your friend first."
Where are we going now?
"Back to my cave. It's a little bit warmer, and it's safe from snowfall. And whatever it is that caused you to leap, hopefully to your life, not to your death, from a cliff, isn't likely to be able to find us. Or at least if they do, Bella will smell them first.
Giant ice spiders.
I'm starting to think the spiders might have been easier.
And he,
Dragon. There was a dragon as well.
Oh yeah, there's a pretty dragon as well. Forgot about that. Whew, thanks for remembering that one.
So he was nodding when you said ice spider, and then when you say dragon, his head whips around. Dragon.
Oh, it's stuck up there in the temple building, I think.
Yep. Super grumpy giant blue dragon.
And he kind of looks up, somewhat. You can't obviously see his expression, but he kind of looks for a long time at the cliff's edge, and then shakes his head, and he says, "Madness. The whole world is madness. No matter what I do, I can't get away from it. All right. We'll see what happens when we get back. I suppose this is typical. Next time I need to just keep on going. Come on, Bella." And Bella and starts going a little faster. And until we get back to the cave. And before I talk about that cave, I will stop everyone for just a moment and say welcome to those of you who have just come in so far. Welcome to Pen and Pixels, episode 193. This is D&D with GOG, Storm King's Thunder, and you have just seen a party survive, apparently, a fall from a mountain and ice spiders and everything else. I am joined, as usual, by Pyron Jade, by Darksaber2K, by previously known as Screaming Joypad, now known as Mike Smith, and by Tasty Chai, all of whom have been with me for a long time in this campaign, which is in its latter stages, I would say, at this point. It's been a lot of fun. If you like what you see here, please spread the word about GOG. Please follow us here. Please subscribe to the channel. And please let people know. We have a lot of stuff that we do. I play a lot of D&D on my channel, but all of these folks are involved in one way or the other, either in streaming or connected to it peripherally, tech and stuff like that. So follow us on all the things, and thank you all for being here. We'll be here until about 5 minutes to 7 p.m., which is about an hour and 5 minutes from now, when we will give way to someone who I just totally know the name of.
It's Dialed. It's one of our.
Oh, Dialed. There's Dialed. I see her.
Yes, there she is, one of our guest streamers, and she is playing Star Trek 25th Anniversary Edition, I think.
It actually says Star Trek Starfleet Academy. Is it 25th?
Somebody got it wrong.
It is 25th edition. So it's funny you mention that, because the first thing I ever streamed on this channel, my first ever Pen and Pixels, was that very game. And and it was that very game that caused us to have Takanjia too, because he came and watched me as I was trying to win this ridiculous ship battle, which I won, and he thought it was awesome, so he stayed, and the rest is history. So welcome, Dialed. That's awesome, and I will try to stick around and watch a little bit because I love that game. Anyway.
It's my fault. The internal schedule was not changed, so that's how this happens. 8-bit, would you be so kind and change the next command?
25th, good stuff. All right.
Nice.
Thank you, Kilgore. Kilgore shall
Thank
fix the
you.
next. All right.
Yes, did.
So on we go. Okay, so it takes you probably a good 15-20 minutes or so of Bella clambering down the snow before you reach what looks like a very large ledge. The snow kind of comes almost to an end, and there is basically a gray stone ledge that leads to this cave. And inside the cave, you can see already that there are some flames burning inside the cave, like campfires or fires, the equivalent thereof. And as you go over, and as you over on the back of Bella brings you right to the mouth of the cave, and then Calixis pulls Bella back, pulls her back, and says, "All right there, all right," and jumps off the back of Bella and goes over and does something. And I would say, actually, all of you make a perception check for me. Celsig, you can do this at advantage. Thank you for the follow on my channel, Mooney Cat. Okay.
Oh, 23 and a 19.
Yeah, look at that. So, so far 3. What about your River? You're muted, also.
Muted.
I lost my ability to read. So
Okay. I'm sorry. It seems like a terrible condition.
yeah, I was like, "Where's perception?"
Okay, all of you are very perceptive today. All of you can see that, and Celsi, technically this is at advantage, so roll that again for me just in case.
I did. I got a 19 and a 23.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry. I thought you were talking about everybody else. My bad. Okay, so all of you were able to see that the Calixus bends down and is fiddling with something, and you in particular, Celsig, can see that whatever he's fiddling with, there is a gleaming, something that gleams off of it as he fixes it. If you had to guess, it's a wire, basically, that was stretched across the cave. And he does something to it, so it's now like along the bottom. It's not stretched across anymore. And then he says, "All right, come on, Bella." And he goes in, and Bella and goes after you in her great gait and enters the cave. The inside of the cave, when you enter it, is interesting because everywhere, first of all, it's very warm, actually warm, not the I can't feel anything warm that Celsig was feeling before, actually warm. But it also is covered with all of these furs, cloths. Like everywhere you look, there seem to be more cloths and furs and like exterior clothing basically draped everywhere. There is a bed or what looks like kind of a mat of some kind where presumably Calixus would sleep. There is a very, very large thing of cloths and fur and stuff like that on the ground, not too far away from the smaller area where presumably Calixus sleeps. And then there are shelves on a lot of places in the cave, and on almost every shelf are piled furs, cloths, the same thing that I talked about before. And there are several fires that are burning, and the thing that you all note is that these fires that are burning seem to be wood fires, but unless he just left and then just came back like, a half hour after he left, these things look as if they were just set. Like as if the fires were just put together, not like a half hour or an hour or 2 hours ago. So you kind of take note of that. And there are two of those fires, one towards the front of the cave where you are, off to the sides you can pass by, and then one towards the back. And it is towards the back and towards that huge set of mats that are on the floor that he leads you. Bella goes over to those mats and kind of turns herself around, and then sort of settles herself down. And then Calixus comes over and says, "All right, you can get off here. You're safe for the moment."
Okay. We shall get off.
Okay. So you get off, and
I'll help Celsig down, as in, like, if needs be, I'll carry him.
you would, because
I
Celsig is.
try to stand up, and I'm just like, no,
Yep.
no.
No, mate, you're in a bit of a bad way, so I'll carry him as carefully as I can.
And you bring him down, and Calixus kind of watches as you do, and then says, "All right," and starts unpeeling off the rags and all this stuff off of the face. And when he's finally done, he then takes the goggles and lifts them, and sort of you see that the goggles are almost part of like this helmet that he's wearing. And when he takes that off, you can see that you are looking at a very old and grizzled dwarf. There is white and gray in his beard. Basically, there's no dark. There's just a little bit of flecks of gray for the white in his beard. And his eyebrows are white and bushy and fierce. But you can see that his face is scarred and pitted, as if he has been exposed to the elements for countless years. And it's almost like you're looking at the side of a mountain, like this old mountain, but his eyes are glittering bright gray. And he kind of looks at all of you and then, "All right, so before you tell me what it is that causes you to be coming to the Oracle, I suppose you're going to want some food. I'll do what I can to take care of your injuries, but I'm no doctor. I don't know what I'll be able to do for your friend there." And he kind of looks at Celsig.
Anything you could do for him would be fantastic, thank you.
So he brings you over to one of the fires, the one towards the back, and you can see that around the back he has several boxes, like large, almost like Foot Locker type things that are kind of along the wall. And he lifts them. And do any of you go with him, by the way, or are you just watching as he does this?
What is he doing, sorry?
He's going over, so he brings you over to the fire, and then he's going over to these boxes that are against the wall near the fire that look like foot lockers, kind of, and he opens the foot lockers if he's getting something from it.
No, I'm sticking with Salsig.
Okay. Greta, same. River, same.
It seems a bit, I don't know, like strange to like follow your host and look him over the shoulder, like, what are you doing here? So I'm also staying with Celtic, but I have night vision, so I'm still like looking over.
Okay.
But
Well, you can see it anyway because the flames, there's enough light to see in here because of the fire. And so he pulls something from the footlocker, and you can see that it looks like almost like it's a huge stick on which has been thrust through the center of this large piece of frozen meat of some kind. And he brings it over and brings it over to these two essentially Y-shaped sticks that are on either side of the fire, and he puts the stick down on it so that they're between the two Y-shaped things. And then he takes it and leaves it there, and you begin to hear a crackling sound as the fire heats up, making this very delectable smelling kind of smell. And then he comes back over and, sorry, I beg your pardon, he goes to the other box, opens it, pulls out something else, and then brings over what looks like skins of some kind, like water skins, and he hands one to each one of you.
Is it quite warm in here?
It is pretty warm. I wouldn't say it's hot, but it's definitely fairly warm, yes.
It's not as cold as outside.
No, not at all.
What was the name of our host? Because I keep wanting to call him Luck.
Calixus.
Calixus.
Which is spelled Callixus, in case you're curious.
I wrote it correctly.
Callixus. Calixus. Okay. Okay. So I'll ask him if there's anything I can do to help.
And he says, well, and he looks you up and down. It depends. You could, if you want, perhaps go grab some of the meat outside that's been curing. It's not too far from the cave, but you might be a little bit hurt for that.
No, I'm okay. Like I said, I've through my own fault and through party adventures, I've been through slightly worse scrapes than this. I'm beaten and I'm bad, but nothing a bit of a rest and some food won't kill. Will I be? I'm kind of from the north, but not quite this far north. Am I going to be okay outside? Or because I kind of motioned to the fact that I'm literally wearing a loincloth and a backpack.
And he says, no, I wouldn't advise it, but there's plenty of things around there. And he points at one of the shelves and he says, go ahead and take the stuff off the second shelf.
Cool. I go to the second shelf.
And the second shelf you see has got basically, and as you're over there, you can now see that there's basically 4 shelves in this thing, and each shelf has got what looks like a full outfit. Cloak, pants, shirt, like tunic, and like so many rags and furs, like just ridiculous amounts of furs and rags, basically. And so there is one of those on one set of these on that shelf.
Do I notice anything? Are they all, because he's not my size, like, is the second shelf going to fit me?
There are, on the second shelf, and maybe that's why he told you that particular one, it does seem to be able to fit you. This seems to be larger.
Curious and curious.
In fact, maybe even a little big for you, actually. But I mean, it'll fit.
Curious still. Okay. Okay, well, I'll dress myself in the furs and stuff that he's got and go out and... I'll ask him where the meat is, because I'm just going to be wandering aimlessly.
He says, yeah, all you have to do is go out of the cave, go left, and make sure you keep right next to the wall. If you head straight out, because, again, the cave is in this, I mentioned that there was this cave that was into the side of the... So it was like, if you just follow it along the side and go down about 2 minutes walk, I'd say, you'll find the area where it is. And they haven't been there for long, so I don't think you'll see anything there, but just in case, be ready in case, creatures. Usually the spiders don't come down this far. You're probably fine.
Yeah, you never know. I've kind of motioned to my axe in my hand. Can't stay too prepared.
He nods and he says, "Nope, not too much."
All right, I'll head out.
All right. Well, you head out to do that. Greta and Selsig and River, what are you folks doing?
Now that the circumstances are slightly better, I will try to, well, look what's up with Celtic. Like, you know, looking like, okay, let's have a look at your leg. That doesn't seem okay.
Ow!
Yeah. Okay.
Definitely broken.
Yeah. No. No. Seriously?
So you like look at it. Does it hurt when I do this? Like, you know,
That wasn't even the broken one.
At least now you're symmetrically broken. No, but
Like both at equal right angles.
I should start using guidance on my own before I do anything.
oh man. Yeah, unfortunately, this does not seem to be. The only thing you know for sure is that this seems like it's more than sprained. The leg definitely feels like it's even a little bit twisted even as you look at it. It must have been the thing that he landed on underneath him.
I do have another potion of healing, which is probably a good time to drink this, I think.
There could be worse ones.
Yeah. So, what would that be?
2d4 plus 2 would be that one.
2d4 plus 2, yeah. No, that's still set. Come on. Yeah, 5.
Oh god, Ernell. What's up, Ernell? Also,
We're
okay,
really
fine.
good at this.
I wasn't even expecting this to miraculously heal my leg, but at least as pain relief goes.
Yes, you're
I'm
feeling a
happy.
little bit better than before for sure. The leg is still hurting a lot, but at least you're not like racked in pain at the moment.
I can vaguely sit up a little bit now.
Yes. Riverbelt, what about you? What are you doing?
I've been sitting next to the fire, nursing the skin, and salivating watching the meat cook.
Yeah, it looks really good, and it's fresh water, by the way. Unlike the water that you accidentally had in your mouths just now when you were dealing with the snow, this seems to be, it's not painful. It just seems to be nice, sort of cool water, basically, that you're drinking.
None of that accidental water.
Yeah, none of that ice, shard water, basically, that you've had. What's up, Coven? And so you, as you're kind of looking and around you, you notice, River, that so the meat is cooking, and he comes over, Calixtus does a couple times and turns it, so it's like different sides of the meat are getting cooked. And you notice that as you look around, this is a pretty decent size cave, and a lot of these shelves, and he's got many of them, and all these furs and cloaks and all these things that I referred to, they look like they've been here for a while. I mean, a lot of the shelves in particular look as if there's got some age on them. Everything looks like it's in good condition, but it definitely doesn't look like he just moved in here in the last week, basically. So Calixtus is, goes back and forth a couple times, and then he walks over to you, and I'll come to you in just a second, Orash. He comes over to you, Selsig, with Greta, and he looks down, and he's like, all right. And he kind of has his arms folded. So, you think he's going to make it, this halfling of yours?
Yes.
And he nods slowly. He's like, all right, good. I won't ask yet what you're doing up there, but I would say that whatever you're going to do, it's going to be, well, he kind of looks down and he says, he sighs heavily. He says, let me take a look at that leg.
Ow!
Do you let him do that, Greta?
I look at Celtic to see what Celtic thinks about this. It's his leg, after all. Still.
I sort of just look at Greta, just put my hand on her arm and just go, if he'd wanted me dead, he had better times to do it.
Okay, I move aside, but I stay close.
Sound logic.
Calixtus bends down, and he puts a hand on your leg, and sort of moves up and down from the knee back down to the foot, and there's no pain while he's doing this, actually, Selsig. And then he sighs again, and he sort of sits back a little bit on his knees, rocks back on his knees, and he does this thing where he rubs his hands together. And he rubs them together, and as you're watching, Greta, you can see his hands moving faster and faster until it feels like there's almost a glow coming from his hands, and then he puts both hands down on your leg, Selsig, which leads to first, as if someone just chopped your leg off. Like first it's like, like the worst pain of all time, right? And then immediately...
I do go like, and then...
it disappears completely. And all of a sudden your leg just feels a little sore, like someone stretched it, but no pain at all. And kind of pulls his hands back and, all right, don't stand on that for a minute. And he gets up and without saying anything turns and walks away.
I'm looking incredibly confused at my leg right now.
I just sit there quiet. Oh, this is stuff that I should rather observe than talk over.
I'm just about to nudge Greta and go, maybe ask him about that.
Get him to write that down.
How do you do that? Urash, in the meantime, you were outside making your way up the area of the face of the hill, basically, where this cave is set into. And this really is...
so warm in the snow.
I'm sorry, say again?
I've never been so warm in the snow.
I've never been so warm in the snow, exactly.
I also don't think I've ever worn this many clothes.
When you get down a little bit further,
You had a tuxedo.
You did have a tuxedo.
Oh, I did. Yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah,
Yep.
Okay, scratch that. I've worn more clothes than this, but I've never been this warm.
And in fact, you know what? This just reminded me that I have a perfect visual for this. Oh God, what is the name of the person? All right, hold on. This is I can't believe I'm looking for this, so it'll just take a second. Let's see. I gotta find the plot so I can find the character. Blah, 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 blah. Okay, Martia, right. So... got it. All right, images. Yes. Thank you for the follow, Simpy. Okay. So, I don't know how many of you are familiar with... I can't find the right picture. Okay. Anyway, I don't know how many of you are familiar with Star Trek VI, The Undiscovered Country, which is my favorite of the Star Treks. But there's a sequence where McCoy and Kirk are broken out of this prison on a prison planet of Rura Pente. And they're walking away, and there's a person accompanying them who is in this enormous form, and it's just a bunch of furs. It looks kind of like a like a sand raider, like a sand person from Star Wars, but like much bigger and just nothing but furs. That's what Urash looks like, as he's just like, as he's walking down. And eventually, after a couple of minutes, Urash. After a couple of minutes, Urash actually sees this set of what looks like these large stakes, maybe wooden stakes. And it's actually in some snow which comes piled down. Remember that you've got the cave, then you've got the stone ledge, and then on the far end, closer to the oracle, there's snow that's there. And so you find, when you get to, you followed the directions, you go down to the left, keeping close to where the cave was, and then you find these 4 stakes that are set in a pile of snow that is, again, heading up towards, in the direction of where the Oracle of the Allfather was. And in the middle of these stakes is a large wooden cage of some kind, or box, basically, with these holes in it. Essentially a cage. And there is some very large, furry creature, which is in the cage, clearly quite dead, and which is basically just sort of lying there in the cage, quite dead, and it looks frozen.
Okay.
I'll be right back.
Okay. Go ahead, Arash.
Did you say there was anything else around it?
Just the 4 stakes. So it's not stakes meaning, by the way, wooden stakes, not meat stakes. Wooden stakes,
So
in the
just
middle
wooden
is this
stakes,
cage.
nothing on the wooden stakes.
Correct.
Okay. Then I guess I am taking this creature back to the cave.
Okay.
So I'll open the cage.
Okay.
Is this like a thing I can...
It looks like you'll be able to pull it, although it's pretty large. I'm going to need you to make a strength check, but it's a simple one.
Oh.
And I'll take athletics for this if you prefer.
Probably should have done athletics.
Yeah, go ahead and do athletics.
I'm gonna have to go. Are you sure?
Yeah, it's all right.
Okay, thank you. Better be better than that. Yep, 14.
Okay. So yeah, you're able to pull it up. It is pretty heavy, and kind of carrying it in your arms, you walk back to the cave with this thing. Every so often you
Very
hear...
apt noises in the music I can hear of someone just chunking through snow at the minute. It's
Yep.
really good shot.
Chunk, chunk. And you can actually hear every so often a kind of keening, like maybe like a howl, like way, way off in the distance somewhere. You're not sure what that is. But, and so you bring them all, so you bring that back into the cave. And when you arrive back in the cave, you see Greta and Selsig and River sitting around the fire with their water skins. And you can see in particular, Selsig has this rather confused expression on his face. So you come in with this, and Calixis comes up and says, all right, good. Here, just bring it over. And he points at the fire in the back that they're all sitting around.
Okay, cool. I'll take it over to them.
And so he has you put it down next to this box, the box that he pulled this thing of meat from, the one that's currently cooking over the fire. And he says, I'll tend to that after we're done. Think it's time for food, though. And he goes back over, and by this point, the cave smells delicious. Anyone who has never had the experience of smelling, like a burger being cooked, or a pork chop, or or chicken with the crispy chicken skin. Like, just put in the best awesome meat. If you're vegan, I'm sorry, I can't help you. But if you're not a vegetarian or a vegan, you'll know what I mean. This delectable scent sort of fills the cave. And he pulls this off and then cuts these slabs, and you can see the juice dripping from... I'm sorry, I can't resist. I just saw Gigafrost and Tandagasa mouthwaters, like the juice dripping from the edges of it. You can hear the sizzle as each one hits the floor, the drop of fat drips in the floor. And then puts it onto these plates, these wooden plates essentially, and then really almost trays, and just hands them out to each of you.
So, interesting question. Well, I think it's interesting anyway. Where does he get these plates from?
He has them on a third box. So basically, there's box that has the food that he pulled out, box with the water skins, and there's one more box that he pulled from it, these wooden trays or whatever.
Did I notice if there were any extra plates?
You didn't notice because you didn't go over with him. But
okay.
He pulled them out. It looked like, he pulled them out from a box that's big enough to have a lot more than those. So.
Okay. Just a follow-up to my question when he sits down.
Okay. So he sits back down, and all of you tuck in. It is delicious, like really, really good, and you can feel sort of warmth. You can feel sort of the warmth kind of beginning to fill back into your stomachs, becoming stomach full again. And Calixis just sort of quietly eats, occasionally looking over at looking at all of you in turn, and then going back to his meat. At one point, he gets up and he tosses what's left of the carcass, which is like half of it. Is a pretty big piece of meat, and he tosses it to Bella, and Bella like snaps it out of the air, and then just chews the meat and the stick. And Calixis says, no, not the... Bella, I don't have that many of the steaks. And Bella, as she's like chewing through the meat and the sticks, and he shakes his head and comes back over. Sits down.
So how many of you were there?
Did you say what? I'm sorry?
I turn to him and I say, so how many of you were there?
What do you mean, how many of us?
Well, you're on your own here, but there's clearly lots of supplies and clothes for people of different sizes, and this place is huge. So my assumption is that either there were a lot of you, or some of you aren't here anymore. You're an adventuring party that sort of disbanded, or there's a story there. There's a lot of stuff here for one dwarf.
He nods slowly and he says, that's observant. It's not quite right, but it's close. He says, before I answer that, though, he looks at all of you. I think you need to tell me what you were doing up in the Oracle. Don't take this the wrong way, but this isn't a vacation spot.
No, that makes sense. That makes sense.
Um,
Well, Long story short, we're trying to save the world.
He kind of snorts at that.
From what I've seen, his technique of healing. Have I seen something like this before? Have I heard about something? Can I
Make a
deduct
history.
anything from it?
Make a history check for me, Greta. Let's see. No, I take that back. Make
Oh,
a.
wait.
I'm sorry. I take it back. Don't do that. You guys are all like, quick. Make a religion check for me, please. I'm sorry, not history. Hey, Dango.
Intriguing.
Yeah. No.
You're like.
I don't know
mean,
anything
there are a
about
lot of people that do weird things in the world, and this is
Yeah.
one such weird thing that you
Religion checking solo.
I
You're
don't
just
know
like,
anything about religion.
You're just like, look, I don't go in much for this religion thing. I mean,
Yeah,
I don't really.
just no.
Yeah, you don't know. I mean, the one thing you know is that you are not familiar. You've never yourself seen anything of that kind of technique. It's certainly not a standard, clerical healing technique or that sort of thing.
Okay.
Exactly, Kevin. Not only is that not familiar, she also forgot her god's name. Like, is it Faltis? Like what? Fontis? What? The Fozzie? Fozzie Bear? Like what? Who lights my way? Anyway.
By the light of Fuzzy.
So so Calixus says, so you're here to save the world, huh? What are we saving?
Yeah, pretty much.
What are you saving it from this time?
Giants.
Tyrannical giants.
Make an insight
In a
check.
nutshell.
Make an insight check for me, everybody, please.
Insight.
Wow.
I see that.
You see
He's
all.
talking.
You don't know anything about religion, but you certainly know the basics of that. Okay.
I've seen
just-
people before.
I'm just sort of sitting on the ground, moving my leg and looking at that, not really paying any attention.
Right.
Just going,
I wouldn't blame you. You're just
"What?"
like, I'm not paying. Yeah, you have more insight into your leg, maybe. So River, you were able to note that when he hears the word giant, you can see kind of his eyes widen. And Greta, when he says that, not only do his eyes widen, but you see him kind of like almost like take a breath for a minute, like he was going to say something, and then, giants. I see. And
Well, as you know about the Oracle and you're living close to it, so you might know a thing or two about giants, I guess.
maybe too many things about them, probably.
Considering the situation we're in, I don't think there's such a thing as too many things about giants. We take all the help we can get on this mad quest to save the world. I mean, we have a giant up there fighting a blue dragon currently, so that was already a little bit of help.
And he says, giant fighting a blue dragon.
Up in the Oracle, yes.
Yeah, it's a long story.
No, it's actually not. It just came in, and then they fought.
We're missing something. Yeah.
Getting to that point.
He says, we're missing something between you getting there and a dragon and giant fighting, and then you almost falling to your death.
There were also
pretty
spiders.
sure-
But yeah.
We're pretty sure that this dragon is like the cause of the problems with the giants. Like, we're not
What?
certain, but like, there's some sort of creature behind all of this. Yeah, remember they were talking about the evil one, and then all of a sudden this really pissed off dragon appeared, and someone mentioned that this evil one was a dragon. I'm saying
but-
this in front of the others.
Okay.
I don't think this makes sense, Urash, because why would the evil one risk their own life, like just crashing into a temple?
I don't know.
Maybe they could just have, like another dragon crash into the temple. This doesn't seem like worth the risk.
I don't know. If we've pissed it off enough,
I would
If we
still
win
send
a-
another dragon. I don't think
Well-
it's like we can like walk up there and see how the fight went, and then like, oh, it's dead. Everything's fine now. I don't
yeah,
think.
if it's dead, then we're fine, and it may not be the bad guy. Let's put it that way.
Also, we could eat it.
That's very true. That's
I
very,
don't
very
think you're
true.
supposed to eat dragons.
Who said? Is there a law?
Wouldn't that be like half cannibalism for you or something?
I just bite the meat. I'm like, do you know what you're eating right now? Like, did you
What are
ask?
we eating? What are we eating?
And he sort of looks over and kind of his gray eyes, his bright gray eyes kind of twinkle a little bit, and he says, "Do you really want to know?"
Yeah, it was delicious.
And he nods and he looks over at Bella and he says, "Well, I kind of don't like to mention it because, well, I could get Bella upset, but you're eating some fine quality ice lizard."
I see.
Well, she
Well, they're
is
delicious.
I see why you keep her.
Well, Bella killed it, actually. I was sort of surprised, but she decided that it was dangerous. Bella's a little protective of me. And Bella kind of, finishing the last, like the sound of splintering wood between her jaws as she finishes the thing, kind of looks over and then has her big paws out, her claws out like this, and just puts her head down looking like a dog in between, like just this, looking this way.
Is she wagging her tail?
No.
I wave at Bella.
And Bella kind of looks over, like its head in this way, but she kind of it kind of leans her head in your direction, and then leans back.
Ah, you two get along.
Good girl, Bella. Good
Saved
girl.
my life.
And he says, "Yeah, Bella's pretty good at that when she has a mind to. Still gets in trouble too much, though," he says sort of loudly, and he gets up and he goes over and he bops Bella right on the nose, kind of sort of a bah. And Bella's like, now again, Bella's head is as big as this thing, right? So Bella so Bella could just, and Bella kind of lifts her head for a minute and then kind of nuzzles him in the side and then lowers her head again. And he shakes his head. And he walks away. Stupid ice lizard. And, but his voice is soft. And he comes over and sits back down. He says, "All right. So you were in the Oracle. There was a dragon and a giant. Exactly why would you come to the Oracle in the first place, though? Only giants go there, usually. And certainly not people, well, of our size."
Why do you live below the Oracle?
He says, "I'll make a deal with you. A question for a question. I'll give an answer, you give one too. All right?"
I look at my companions to see whether they agree.
I nod.
Yeah, go for it. I like this guy.
Yeah, full disclosure, Celtic absolutely trusts this guy right now.
He's like, I imagine, with sort of a religious furor.
yeah, he's almost Jesus to me at this point.
Like, personally, we owe this dude. We are alive because of this guy.
He says,
would you be willing to answer under a spell of truth?
And he kind of looks at you and then, "Why?"
Because a question for a question doesn't mean an answer for an answer, right?
Well, it's about trust, right?
You want to trust us?
He looks over at Bella, who just, kind of, her eyes kind of gradually closing. And he looks back, he says, "Why not?"
Well, we apparently just fell from a mountain being chased by something.
He says, "Well, I think I knew that without you telling me. Why were you in the mountain is the question."
Mm-hmm. Look, we're, like maybe Uraj already pointed out, we're at a kind of important quest right now. So maybe, we should be a bit careful.
He says,
And we went in there with a giant. And he's fighting the dragon now.
He says, "This giant, I assume it was friendly. Did it force you to come with him, or her? Or did you put it under a spell, a geese, or something to make it do what you wanted?"
Can you spell a giant?
He's like, and he sort of says, he kind of looks at you and says, "I could have, or at least friends of mine could have back in the day, yes."
Oh.
I assured Chipper it was mutual cooperation based on trust, not deception.
Sounds awfully idealistic. I don't believe it's hard to imagine that such a thing exists down there anymore. I came up here because I was tired of hearing words like trust and having them thrown back in my face when it was proven to be wrong. Is it true that the world down there has gotten to be more honest?
I just, Greta is thinking back at the crazy Harpers. and the bard that totally weirded her out.
Mm-hmm.
And at the starving children that they saved. And all of that. And like, what would you mean by honest?
And he says, reliable. You get in trouble, they'll help you, even if it doesn't gain them anything to do it.
There are those who are trying to be that way, but as with all things, there are those trying to tear it down for personal gain. And those of us who are trying to redress the balance.
He sighs and he's like, I've heard such words before. Well, how are you doing in redressing this balance?
Well, we kind of lost it at the top of the mountain.
We very often fall off stuff.
He nods. He says, I'd say that's in
You can
evidence.
swing both ways on a daily basis.
he says that sounds about right. I can
We
see
also
that
don't
in
have a
evidence.
really good track record when it comes to pets.
And
I'm giving Bella a careful look.
he says, oh, Bella's not going to do anything to you. Once she's decided that you're friends of mine, that means you're friends of hers. And, besides, she's full right now. And he looks over and Bella, his eyes closed, and you just hear this, like, slow, maybe snoring.
I like her. She's nice.
Do you say that actually, River?
Yes.
Okay. He says, good. I'm glad. I like her too. That speaks well of you. She's an idiot. And he looks over and then says, but she's a good-natured idiot, I suppose.
Oh, me too. It's okay.
And he looks over with his eyes raised a little bit and then kind of glances at all of you. And he sort of like, almost like he's trying to suss you out a little bit, River, like, and then he goes, comes back and he says, all right, an answer for an answer, you said.
Mm-hmm.
My name is Calixis. As I said, I've been up here in the mountains for a long time. And I came up here originally with some friends of mine, Urash. Friends of mine that, as you say, stayed with me in this cave for a time. There came a time when we went our separate ways. I had no interest in returning to civilization. They said we had more to do. I stayed, they left. And since then, I found Bella, and I've got on all right. Though sometimes my foraging expeditions don't go as well as they might when 4 strangers fall right into the snow in front of me or nearby. Also, somebody's typing.
It's Ebenezer who's typing furiously. I'm pretty sure he's...
Who the hell is Ebenezer? They only told me 4 of them.
Let's have a look.
Furious time.
Thank you for the follow, Anafrin78. Welcome to GOG.
Yep,
Can we
yeah, sure.
chip in and buy him some silent cherry MX keys?
Exactly. He's like, you are worthy. Okay. So...
Careful.
I have his headphones now and the cable is not as long as mine, so I tried to like roll back to see what he was doing and I hurt myself.
Okay.
Typing very angry letters.
Yeah, I do wonder. He
No,
doesn't look apologetic, so
So that's fine. That's all right. So he says, I came up here mostly to avoid contact with others, but you've obviously made that difficult. So my question is, where now? Do you have to go back to the Oracle, or are you bound for elsewhere?
Not even sure we can go back to the Oracle.
I wouldn't think so. Not easily.
Definitely a dragon in there, and also a giant, and they might be doing battle still.
We might have a look if our giant friend is still alive, you know?
Yeah, you never know. I mean, Harshnag is a tough old geezer.
Harshnag! And he stops you. He says, "Did you say Harshnag?"
Well, that all depends. What's your current reaction?
He has this, like, sort of shocked expression. Like, his eyes get very wide, and he's like, "You left Harshnag up there?"
No, he told us to leave.
Told us to leave.
Yeah, he basically forced us and started swinging his axe at us to encourage us to leave, basically.
Bet
It was
did
very
that.
encouraging.
And he stands up. He says, "Oh, Betty did, that stupid bastard," and turns around and walks over to the shelf and kind of looks up at the shelves and then sort of turns around. And he says, "This is where you tell me that he told you he would keep things safe while you escaped or something, right?"
Does the word force grey mean anything to you?
And he sort of stares at you. And then he walks over and he says, "How do you know that name?"
Because it's how we found Harshnag.
Yeah.
We've been looking for you.
Me?
All of you.
Oh,
As a unit, like...
Force Grey. Yes. Yes, I'm one of them. Or at least, I used to be. It was a long time ago. And he kind of sits down and he says, "But I haven't heard the name Harshnag in many, many years. Thinking of him fighting a dragon while a mountain falls down around him. I suppose that would please him, actually." And he kind of looks into the fire and he says, "My hope was we could go to our separate ways. Wouldn't cause more problems than we'd already caused. But it seems like you can't escape the adventure. It comes to you one way or the other. Damn it all!"
So I
And he
just
kinda
turn to the others. I'm just like, so now we can tell him everything, right?
I mean, he did feed us.
We might have a way to get up there again.
He says, he turns back to you and kind of shakes his head slowly and says, "It's not a good idea. Harshnag either died there the way he wanted to, or the dragon died, or the dragon escaped and made a spot for him to escape. Either way, if you go back up there now, you'll have been wasting the sacrifice he made, and I don't want you to do that. I'm gonna have to try to track him down later on my own if I can. But he didn't do this and throw you off of a cliff or whatever the hell he did, just so that you could go back up there and get yourselves killed. That's not, what's the term? Heroic?
Well, either the dragon is dead, or it's gone.
Or it's waiting. Dragons wait a long time.
Does the name Limrith mean anything to you?
And he sort of thinks for a moment and... not much as I know. What is that? Giant? Dragon?
Sorry, could you repeat that? I pulled my earphone out.
Nope, you only get one chance. No, he says, he says,
Caught on my watch strap and I pulled my earphone out.
he says, not as much as I know. What is that? Dwarf? Dragon?
We think it's a dragon. That's pretty much all we know at this point. We think it's that name has something to do with what's going on at the minute, and one of the reasons why we're involved in this series of events.
Which name?
Limrith.
I think you mean Imrith with an I, not an L.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Oh, is it an I? Oh, I see.
Yeah, it's capital I.
I may have put it as an capital I. I'll put it as a lowercase I on the journal, so I don't forget again. Imrith, not
Okay.
Imrith. Yeah,
Um,
we found out some details about out of character a second. The journal basically said we found out some details about the evil one, which is possibly Imrith the dragon.
and he
It was like a
nods.
super short bit of information.
And he nods slowly and he says, I haven't heard of an Imerith, but dragon lore was never my specialty. But if the dragons are involved, you know, about 10 years ago we had that whole business with the dragons here in the Sword Coast, and it was put down with only some difficulty. It's possible that there's some who remain who are angry at the ones who survived here, or it could be... And he kind of stops and then says, there I go again, talking like a damned hero when I'm not one. Yes, I suppose there could be some dragon like that, but I don't know the name. And frankly, going after a dragon isn't my idea of a good time. The Oracle doesn't deal with dragons anyway. You must have been going there for some other reason.
Are you looking for a good time? I'm looking like around the cave on the top of the mountain, far away from everything.
I really... You're an...
No! What did I say? I hate you all!
Also, Mike is dead. Yeah, look at...
He just said it's not his idea of a good time.
He said, are you looking for a good time? And that means something very different in America. It's,
Preposition tip, well
it's
done.
just, oh, man. Wolf Soul with the subscription. That was a good moment, Wolf Soul. That's really good.
Touched it. I wasn't gonna say anything.
So he just, I didn't say anything until Mike toppled out of his chair, all right? That was when everything changed, and then Saber wouldn't stop giggling. Before that, I was fine. Oh, man.
Karen, we love you.
Much love. Oh, God, that was brilliant. So he just, like, looks at you and, like, he just stares for a moment. But you're saying this to a dwarf, too, right? So he's just kind of like... I have this image of he goes... He just starts doing the thing with the arms.
I'm not playing with you anymore, you're mean.
Oh, man. No, please. Please don't stop playing with this Byron. Oh, man.
This is nearly as bad as the time that my Shadowrun character was wearing a t-shirt which says I'm a professional.
Nice. Oh, God. Good times. So you actually say something not quite like that, but maybe we'll rephrase. I think.
Okay, I'll try to rephrase this. Yeah, I can see that you're like kind of a party guy, like living here on top of the mountain in the snow.
And he
So-
kind of nods slowly.
So I mean, fighting dragons is like not the worst of it.
And he nods slowly again.
The giants are going crazy.
What do you mean crazy? They're always crazy.
Yes, but they are missing the ordinance now.
The ordning.
Yes, that.
Missing it? What do you mean missing it?
King Hecaton's basically vanished.
And he kind of turned Hecaton it. And he kind of just stares and then sits back, kind of like, I'll be damned. And he sighs and... So you think this Imith or Imlith or whatever somehow got rid of Hecaton and destroyed the ordning, and now the giants have lost it. I mean, what are they doing? They're all attacking in armies? What are they doing?
Well, yes, they are attacking stuff.
Lots of little bits, yeah.
I believe they're more manoeuvring at the moment. It feels like some have gone rogue and are just rampaging. Others are trying to seek means to legitimize their own factions. There's at least one dragon looking to exploit the chaos to unite the dragons themselves.
Cloth.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Remember meeting his followers?
Yes.
And
The bad breath people.
And he sort of nods slowly and he says, "So what did the Oracle tell you to do?"
Get
Well,
to King
originally-
Hekaton's court.
Yeah, so we need to get to Maelstrom, essentially. Because
You want to go to Maelstrom. Maelstrom, Bella! And Bella, like, opens one eye a little bit and then closes it again. He's like, "Maelstrom, do you..." And he just shakes his head. "Look, no one knows where Maelstrom is. It's not reachable anywhere, or at least not that anyone knows of."
Well,
so there's a method. We're aware of a method how to get there, but it involves being involved with this uprising and this breaking of the ordning, that sort of thing. So we essentially, at the minute, know that we need to get to Maelstrom because the person behind this is at Maelstrom at the minute, or one of the people behind this is at Maelstrom. So we kind of need to go there, find out what's what, and save the world, pretty much.
As with many of our journeys, want to is probably a strong statement.
Yeah, probably.
But
We
need
have
to.
found ourselves in an inescapable situation.
So we see that, well, we know that some of Hekaton's daughters are behind this, in combination with Limrith,
Yeah.
or Imrith.
And he says, "Giants in league with dragons and all of them going insane. I made the mistake of leaving my cave. I should have just sat here and waited for death. It would have been easier." And Bella actually opens an eye again and goes, And he says, "You shut up." But he doesn't even really pay attention. He just kind of like fires it over his shoulder, like says that over his shoulder quickly. He says, "Well, so they sent you, the Oracle told you to go somewhere to get to Maelstrom? To find something to get there
Yeah.
anyway?"
Yeah, so we had to prove our worth. We had to go and find a relic. We found a relic to prove our worth, and then I looked at the others and I'm like, wait, what were we doing at that point? Is that when we were attacked?
We brought the relic back
Roll
to
hits in the head.
we brought the relic back to the Oracle, and we got more answers concerning how to get to Hekaton's court. And now we know that we need to
That was it.
head east to Ironslag, because we will try to get the conch that will take us to Hekaton's court from the fire giants, which should just be a breeze at this point. Says Greta with 10 health points.
That's the long and short of it. We need to go to Ironslag to get an item to get to Maelstrom to save the world. And I say this kind of like Urach is, as he's talking, his chest is puffing out a little bit. He's like standing up a little bit straighter. You know, he seems quite proud of this.
Yep. And he says, "Iron Slag. That's the forge. The forge of the fire giants."
That's it.
He's like, "Well, do you know who the person who runs the forge? The king of the fire giants is Duke Zalto.
Yep, that's the guy we need.
An angry and aggressive type. Only thing that kept him in line was fear of the giants above him. If there is no ordning anymore, if it's broken down, it means that Zalto is going to be particularly upset, and I can tell you he doesn't like little people, and that means everything littler than him."
I don't know. Urash is pretty tall.
He nods, he says,
I'm like, oh, thanks.
he nods and he says, "Maybe. But the reality is that your going to Ironslag is going to be difficult."
Yes. We are. This is. I mean, if this was easy, the Harpers would have already done it. So, we don't expect this to be easy at this point. We expect more falling down from things and all of that.
I look around and I'm just like, well, it's not been easy so far.
Yeah,
This
falling
is
off
what
things
happened-
hurts.
This is just what happened when we tried to leave the Oracle.
And he says, he kind of, for the first time, sort of smiles just slightly and says, if the worst thing that happens to you is falling off a mountain before the journey's end, you'll have escaped nice and easy. Try doing that while also fighting things in the air. And he says, sometimes they don't even have the ability to land on a dragon. And he kind of winks at you for a second, River. And he pauses and he says, look, and he kind of stops and then I'm no hero anymore. My adventuring days are behind me. But I have to tell you that what you're doing is... You realize you might not come back from this alive, right?
Yes.
I think
That's what we feel when we go out for a meal these days.
We're not heroes either. We're just apparently we're the ones to do this because nobody else has time.
That is what a hero is, Greta. It's not someone
I
who
just
goes
look
out
up
of their
on my-
way to look heroic. It's someone who does it because they have to. Sorry, Arch.
They're the wrong people in the right place at the right time.
I'm a hero. Just so you know, I'm definitely a hero.
And he looks you up and down and he says, most heroes that I know are ones who don't make a big thing of it one way or the other. They put their heads down and do their jobs. If you do that, you're a hero in my book.
I'm all for keeping my head down.
And he looks over at you and he says, you know, don't take this the wrong way, but you're a long distance from anywhere I know where the halflings would be. If you're an adventurer, I'm going to assume you're a more roguish type figure, but I see a cloak on your back and several other things on your belt, and are you confused about your profession exactly? What are you?
Someone's got to watch their back. That means wearing many masks.
Ranger.
And he kind of nods, and then he looks at you, River, and he's like, so what is he?
He's a ranger.
He's a ranger.
Right?
Yeah, I don't think we've ever corrected River on this.
He turns back and he looks at you, and he sees your black cloak, and like, you know, he's just kind of like,
Twin daggers.
yeah. He's just like, a ranger. And he nods several times, and he goes over to, he looks over at you, Urash, and then he says, kind of quietly, really, what is he? Really?
Do you know, I don't think I've ever asked. I know he's really quick, and he's got a lot of gold. That's pretty much all I know.
I take out my symbol of Foltus and look as innocent as I can. Do I look like somebody who would travel with a rogue?
And he sort of looks you up and down, and he says, you look like someone who's been to hell and back. And at the end of the trip to hell, I can tell you from personal experience that you'll travel with just about anybody so long as you get back alive.
Oh, he was already there at the beginning of the trip.
And he nods. He says,
That makes it better.
very well then. And he says, all right. And he stands up. He seems annoyed. He's like, I don't, and he kind of walks back and forth. And Bella lifts an eye and then kind of lifts her head and kind of follows him, like with her eye, you know, with her head as he's walking past, and like paces a couple times. And then he stops. He says, what are you looking at? And Bella goes, And he says, those days are past, I said. And then Bella again, And he kind of looks back at you, and then, God, fall just bless the darn, and he just starts like cursing in some mix of like dwarvish and then common, and like, you know, just like throws a bunch of things out that are enough to make you know, a sailor's toes curl, and kind of goes through this litany of curses, and then comes out the other side and says, if you need transportation, he sounds like it's being pulled out of him, Bella and I will take you to Iron Slag, but we're not going into it, and we're not going to go any closer to it than necessary, and if you don't make it back, that's not our fault. Is that clear? And he kind of stares at you.
Crystal clear.
And he glares at Bella, like stares right at her face, and Bella's like, and like leans back. And he says, it'll take several days. It won't be a safe journey, but nothing is these days. I'll bring you as far as the fortress. After that, you're on your own.
That's fine.
We might need to inform a friend of ours that we're still alive.
I told you, Harshnag isn't going to want you to go up there.
No, we've got another giant friend.
Another giant? What?
We might need enough space for a flying tower to land.
What? He just kind of like...
Greta, last time we tried to signal him, we got punched by a mountain.
Yes, I see that problem, but we need... You know how he is. He will completely freak out that we might got hurt and everything. And who knows, he will like run around and search for us, and he might send his pets out, and you know how this is not a good thing and everything.
Yeah, that's true.
We need to inform him that we're still alive.
Look.
Can we just go away from the mountain?
And he says, the problem is, the farther you go away from the mountain, the farther away you're going from this fortress you need to get to. The fortress is in the Ice Spires Mountains to the east. It's to the north of the Silver Marshes. You're going to need to get there by going almost directly east from here. If you go south first, you're going to have a hard time with the creatures you find down here, and then we'll have to climb all the way back up. If you're up here already, you might as well stay at least somewhat on the same level. But, and he turns to you, Greta, and he says, if you go talk to this giant friend with a tower, and he kind of grumbles, you're going to be setting up a signal as near as anything to this blue dragon of yours that you're nearby. If you're lucky, the dragon thinks you're dead. You ought to make sure that it keeps thinking that for as long as possible.
Right, he's got a point.
Who is this friend of yours, anyway?
Can somebody please pronounce the name?
It's a cloud giant called Zephyros.
Oh, well, good. I thought you were going to say Sephiroth, and I'm so tired of that guy. And he says, Zephyros. My name's not familiar, but I certainly don't know every giant. And he says, I think what I could do, perhaps one of you could send... Do you have any magic users in the party? Any one of you?
Oh, I can do that.
He like kind of looks at you and like, really?
Well, not right now. I need a nap, but after my nap, I can do it.
All right. I think we might be able to get a message sent to your friend, or at least one that might notify him. You can do what you like, of course. I'm not in charge, but if I were you, I wouldn't go looking for a giant in a tower if you want to avoid the notice of a dragon.
Sounds like a plan. So, do you know anything about curses?
We need to wrap up.
Yep, I know, I got it.
I know.
And he says, yes, I know that I've had one ever since the day I decided I would join this Force Grey group. But...
Then you and I, my friend, have a lot to talk about, and freeze frame.
he says, good. I look forward to the conversation. And, in the meantime, there's a storm coming. And outside, the wind blows, and you can see some snow coming down outside. And again, maybe in the far distance, all of you hear a howl fading in the wind. And that is where we will wrap up the session for today. That was actually just about the spot where I was going to wrap it up anyway. So, wow, folks, everything is always... We had a lot of fighting last time and a lot of action. This time we had mountains and collapses and then rescue, and you ran into another Force Grey person and all that kind of stuff. And, of course, you met Bella, the enormous ice blue lizard. So I'll start with Chai, as I usually do, and then work up. Chai, how'd you feel about today? Where will the lovely people see you next?
I felt great about today because I didn't die. Totally thought I was going to die.
It was damn close.
It was very close.
Yeah.
The RNGs left me today.
Yeah, that's right.
Anyway. Let's see. As far as see me next, I will be on my personal channel the rest of the week. We are working through Gothic 2 for the first time, which has not been stressful at all. And yeah, I'll be back here in a little bit less than a week.
Very awesome. Thank you. Always a great pleasure, Chai. And yeah, I was curious to see how you were going to survive. I like the fact that you knew how to spit, avalanche technique, right? Moving right along, Mike, I'm glad that you're still with us and that you survived almost
yes, being punched by a mountain. Yeah, me too.
well, and also being punched by humor later on in the episode. How did you feel about today? Where will the lovely people find you next?
This stream continues to be one of the most favorite things I do on the internet, to be honest with you. You fantastic people, absolutely fantastic game. I just love everything about it. Yeah, this went a lot different than I expected. There was a lot less action, sans being punched by a mountain, but it went really well. And I love these kind of character building, story building moments. I can't wait to get involved in the next one. Really looking forward to it. And you can catch me. I don't stream anymore, but you can catch me on Twitter, MikeSmith_SA, or on Instagram at Screaming Joypad, because I'm a social media expert and they're different. I just basically keep dealing with all of my shenanigans.
Good stuff. Thank you, Mike. Always great pleasure. Can't wait for next session as well. I agree. Saber, I'll tell you what, man. Celsig was in a world of hurt there, quite literally, for a while, and I wasn't sure how things were going to go with him. But you managed to survive, and you let him know that there were people that needed help, which was quite something. How'd you feel about today, and where will the lovely folks find you next?
Well, I'm still divided on either my luck ran out or it's still holding up really well.
It's a good question. Yes. Either way.
I mean, incredible amount of pain. On the other hand, not dead.
Right.
So it's a matter of perspective, I think.
Right. Exactly.
I mean, it was a lot of fun. It was a really good session today. Well, it always is a really good session, I think. And I had a blast, and I'll be back tomorrow. I'm going to be getting my Wild West on with Call of Juarez Gunslinger. And I'll be back on my own channel on Thursday playing some Persona 5.
That's awesome. I just got from GOG a little bit of Call of Juarez, the first one, but it's so buggy. Like it's like I get stuck on stuff all the time and it crashes and just like, ugh. So
I'd say Gunslinger's probably the best in the series from what I remember.
Maybe I'll try that. I was looking to. I always have a soft spot in my heart for Wild West. All right. Well, cool. And maybe I'll watch you play a little bit just to get a sense of it. But always a pleasure. Great stuff, Saber, and thank you for handling stuff with Moobot and Dashboard as well. And also thank you to Pyron Jade for doing a little bit of that. Also, Pyron, thank you. Thank you for giving me a great laugh. It was an awesome day after birthday laugh. And I really enjoyed seeing how Greta was handling things in general. I thought this was a lot of fun to see how your character went with stuff. How did you feel about today, and where will the lovely people see you next?
I loved today. I was so looking forward to the session, and it was wonderful as always. I actually don't know when you're seeing me next. I'm absolutely in the mood to stream, but when I will find the time with everything I've going on in real life, I don't know yet. But please watch all of our wonderful guest streamers, and if you have anything to tweet about our 5th anniversary, like cool screenshots, clips, or anything, tag me or tag the GOG.com Twitter, so we can retweet it and just be happy about it. That would be wonderful.
That would be great. And if you happen to find a clip involving a good time, please let us know. That would be great. It was a lot of fun. I am, like, as I always say, it is a great privilege to be able to DM players of all different kinds, and I always have fun with this campaign. It's a really, really good group. You folks should be proud of yourselves, how you're playing. I really enjoyed it as well. It's always a mix-up. I wish we could play every week, but all the time, and I understand time is a thing. But I look forward already to our next session, and I look forward to all of the awesomeness that we're going to get from our guest stream coming up next as well. I'm going to let all the folks go and then wrap up. Chat, can we get some love for our wonderful players, Pyron J, Darksaber2K, Mike Smith, and Tasty Chai? Can we get some love for them? Thank you, everybody. I'll see you all next month.
Bye.
Bye.
See ya.
And that is going to do it for that. Again, great time. I love D&D so much, and I love being able to play it with wonderful players, and that's definitely what I've got here. But I got to rise up on out of here because, oh god, wait a second. Stop GOG intro video. I got to rise up on out of here because next up is Dialad, who is going to be playing some Star Trek 25th Anniversary, which was the first game that I ever streamed on this channel. So I am very much looking forward to sticking around and watching her play. try, you folks should do that as well. As for me, I will be back next week on this channel with Pen and Pixels and some Pathfinder Kingmaker, and in short order, possibly 2 to 3 weeks, we'll see, I'm going to find out from them, we will have another one of these awesome D&D sessions. I cannot wait for that. I play a lot of D&D on my channel, and you will see more of that Friday with my space opera Esper Genesis, which is sponsored by Alligator Alley Entertainment, and Saturday we will continue with D&D Curse of Strahd, and there's a big surprise coming up on Saturday, so you will not want to miss that. Tonight, I'll be back on my channel, by the way, at about 9 p.m. Eastern, if anyone is interested in watching some Apollo Justice Ace Attorney. So you can check me out over there with my voice team, the Our Vocalists, will be doing that as well. But it's time for me to get on out of here. Stick around for Dialad. Thank you so much, everybody, for being here and being awesome. And I will see all of you lovely people very soon, either on my channel or there. Until then, please follow the channel, support GOG by subbing, and check us out and follow us and sub and do all that Patreon support stuff on our channels. And thank you all for being here. Much love, and I will see all you wonderful people soon. Until then, be good to each other. Bye for now.